let's see. I want to launch this. Yes, we want to run it. Now we're going to quickly do that and then tab back into the game. Because for some reason, because for some reason the hotkeys don't want to work with OBS because it thinks it's tabbed into something when it's not, because it needs to be tabbed out of OBS for you to use the hotkeys. And every time I load up this game I've got to reset the music button. Right. Because while it is nice and loud and stuff, I'm streaming, so I need to like lower it a bit. Resume game, and we're here. And I've also got lunch, so I'm going to have some more of that quickly. Same. Right. So last time... Alright, hold on. Let's have some nice music, rather than two conkers groaning all the bloody time. Right, so... Hang on. Should have finished my lunch before I started, but never mind. So last time we found Elsa. We know her and two conkers are an excavation team, and I'm technically married. So she's a Varberg. So she's ordered that. They go to all sorts of places, and the Assassin's Guild are after them. So we need to find a hiding place for them. If we can find a hiding place, then here's a good place to do as well. So there's like a few more areas we can go to, so lots of stuff has opened up, so hopefully we can progress. Also, hello SNES. Pichu's main, sounds good. Haven't unlocked him yet, haven't played as him yet. But I will consider that. Does he play anything like Pikachu? Because Pikachu is usually quite trash. This is just all the regular stuff, isn't it? Hang on. Right, cool. So... Oh jeez. Okay, so Warehouse 5 is gone because we no longer need to go there. And the Patrician's Palace has opened up. And so is the Guild of Archaeologists, so let's go there first.
Ankh-Morpork was home to around 300 guilds, most of which festered in the space between Unseen University and the Patrician's Palace like fungus. From the Assassin's Guild to the Beggar's Guild, every one a proud group of individuals basking in their mutual arrogance. I hated them for their smugness. I hated their petty bickering. But most of all, I hated that I wasn't part of one.
Right, now I've got to remember how to play this game. Also, since it's not dialogue, it's giving me time to eat, so hurrah.
The guild coat of arms was clearly displayed, along with the guild motto, Serpentis Odi. I don't think the guild would have been happy with my trying to steal their sign. The door into the guild has a hatch on it. I guess they didn't have an open door policy. Hello? Open up.
All right. Hold on. What do you want?
Can I come in?
Are you a member?
No.
Then no. This is members only.
You only allow members into the guild?
That's what I said. I wasn't kidding.
What happens if something goes wrong with your plumbing?
What do you mean?
I mean, do you let the plumbers in to fix the problem?
Yes, we do.
Are they members of the guild?
No, we sign them in.
No, I thought we had to talk to someone inside. And go, no, you can't come in. I forgot about this guy.
If you signed me in, I could come in, right?
That's right.
Then what do I have to do to get you to sign me in?
There's nothing you can do that'll make me sign you in. I just don't like you.
You don't like me? What kind of excuse is that?
It's the truth.
How else can I get in?
Find another guild member to sign you in, or become a guild member.
Great. So I have to wait around here for a guild member willing to sign me in to turn up.
Don't hold your breath.
Well, this is going to be pointless because Ilsa basically said, I can get you in if you find me a hiding spot.
How do I become a member then?
You need to find a member of the guild to endorse you.
Never mind. I can spot a lost cause when I see one.
Alright.
I guess that's it for now then.
Good. Don't hurry back.
I'm sure I can get some more clues off him. I like go through the entire list of my notebook, but I'm not going to do that. Patrician's Palace.
Two of the palace guards, ever vigilant for a potential intruder. Something like that, anyway.
Whoops.
Shouldn't you have stopped me by now?
What? What do you mean?
Well, I'm practically into the palace itself, and you haven't even asked who I am.
We can already tell you aren't important.
Not important? I might be a foreign spy.
Accent's too clean for that. I'd say you were born here in Ankh-Morpork.
How can you tell?
Accents. He knows them all.
Ah, hidden talents, eh?
We're guards. All our talents are hidden.
So, you're members of the illustrious palace guards, are you?
Illustrious. Do you know what it means to be a palace guard? We're arrow fodder. If anyone with half-decent skills breaks into the palace, you'll be picking our limbs out of the tapestries.
So why do you do it?
It beats being in the city watch.
And the uniforms are much nicer, too. You used to be in the City Watch, didn't you?
You can tell that from my accent.
Would I lie to you?
So, you're an expert on accents.
Oh, yeah. I can tell all sorts of things about you.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
From the stress in your voice, I'd say you experienced a major emotional event about 8 years ago. You like to drink, but if you're not careful, you drink to excess. And you like whiskey.
That really is incredible. Anything else?
That's about it.
You didn't say which part of the city I was born in.
No. That's trickier.
You can tell that I drink whiskey from my accent, but you can't tell which part of the city I was born in.
Well, it comes and goes.
You don't know anything about accents, do you?
Of course he doesn't. He just has a good memory.
You were in the bucket a couple of years ago. You were probably too drunk to remember it.
A couple of years ago, I was too drunk to remember anything. So if you don't know anything about accents, how do you know I'm not a threat to the palace?
If you knew what it was we were guarding, you'd understand.
Is it really that dangerous working for the palace?
Oh, yeah. Our lives could come to a bloody end at any moment.
He's lying, of course. He's always lying. No enemies have ever entered Ankh-Morpork since it was founded.
What about the dwarf attack in the reign of Veltric II? Or the barbarian invasion in the time of Webblethorpe the Unconscious?
Well, of course, technically, we've been invaded quite frequently, but, you know how it is. The guys arrive, they meet a nice local girl, and anyway, their leaders suddenly don't want all the big houses burned down because now they own them. and they find sleeping on real beds is a treat after all that time in the saddle. And what with one thing and another, it all ends peacefully.
In other words, you don't have much to do.
Well, there's a lot of standing around to do, but it's not like the golden age of the kings of Ankh.
The Golden Age?
Well, it was a time long enough ago that no one can remember how wretched it was.
Yeah, he's got a good John Cleese accent going there, the guy on the right.
What is it you're guarding?
Every way into and out of the palace has to be guarded, and we guard one of those.
That's a little vague.
We guard the vital export of post-palatial merchandise.
We guard the trash heap.
That's what I said, wasn't it?
Where is it?
The trash heap? It's around the corner.
But don't steal anything. That's palace garbage, by royal appointment.
Well, by the patrician's appointment.
That's good enough for me.
Do you know a lot about the kings of Ankh?
Oh, sure. The whole history of the monarchy.
How come?
Oh, hanging around palaces. You pick up that kind of thing.
What happened to the kings of Ankh?
Well, the real line came to an end about 2,000 years ago. And after that, we got 17 centuries of a monarchy where the crown was available.
That couldn't have been very stable.
Stable? Ha! Not many lines survived more than 2 or 3 generations. Some of them didn't even make it to the end of the coronation feast.
The shortest reign on record was that of Loyola the Arg at 1.13 seconds.
Can't have been much of a monarch.
That's nothing. For a week, Ankh-Morpork was technically ruled by a wasp. And for several days, by the left foot of the high priest of Io, who dropped the crown on it during the crucial point of the ceremony.
The foot was one of the better rulers, apparently. Made good decisions.
Charming. Also, high flip note. That's good that you have finished your maths. Also, sorry for that dialogue skip, I sat on the mouse. Hang on. Can you still hear me from here? Hopefully you can. Let's have a poke about.
I didn't want this.
Oh, yeah, probably not.
The palace buys a lot of wine, doesn't it?
Why do you want to know?
Just a casual interest in wine.
Your only interest in alcohol is whiskey, and that's more than a casual interest.
It's a hobby.
Most hobbies don't leave you unconscious on the barroom tiles.
Where do the barrels end up?
Around the corner.
Well, when they've been emptied, they do.
Interesting.
Do you know anything about the crate belonging to the...
Do we look like we know anything about the cargo business?
Do you know anything...
Do we...
Okay.
With the Assassin's Guild looking everywhere for two conquerors, I couldn't trust anyone enough to tell them I was looking for somewhere safe to hide him.
Don't need to know about that. What's about the
Do you
kings?
know anything about the counterweight killings?
Have we heard? Of course.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to ignore the prospect of being carved up by some psychopathic killer.
If he's a good assassin, he wouldn't need to kill any of the guards.
That's not very comforting, is it? I mean, our only hope of survival is that this guy is good enough that we don't stand a chance against him.
Well, what's the worst that could happen?
You mean apart from being hacked into minced beef by a foreign killer?
I suppose he might just kill the patrician and let us live. Then we'd only have to worry about being killed by the Assassin's Guild.
What?
He's got this idea in his head that the patrician has given an advance to the Assassin's Guild so that in the event of his death, all of his bodyguards meet the same fate.
Where did you get that idea from?
This priest down at the Temple of Small Gods, he knows everything that's going on in the city.
I'm talking to Malaclips.
This priest you mentioned. His name wouldn't be Malaclips, would it?
That's the one. Do you know him?
We've met. What do you make of him?
I reckon he's the only one in the city who knows what's really going on.
Which is funny, because I think he's a deranged lunatic whose only pleasure in life is getting gullible fools to listen to him.
So, I'm a gullible fool, am I? Who bought those magic beans off that gypsy the other month?
Hey, you should have tried the casserole we made with them. It was magic.
Interesting. probably just another way of going, go talk to Malclips. Well, presumably that's another way of opening up the Temple of Small Gods. They don't need to say about Sapphire, but horse.
Do you know a troll by the...
I don't know him.
Me neither.
What about Malachite?
Do you know what...
I don't know him.
I don't need to know about the murder. What about Alcohol?
What do you...
I don't know him.
Me.
Alcohol?
What? I don't know.
Me.
Yeah, it's worth a shot. Ace, hello. Santa hat, okay.
Does 3...
I can't help you.
That's not what I pressed, game. I pressed the... Never mind. Have I got anything in the inventory? What have we got? Troll tooth, crowbar, money. Grappling iron, coin. Oh, that's
Do you recognize the dwarf in this iconograph?
I don't know him.
Me.
See you around.
If you say so.
Right, so that should be exit, and then this way, as we casually clip through that steel bar.
The palace walls were useful for keeping intruders out and keeping the roof in place. What was I going to do? Scale the walls with my bare hands? The empty barrels at the foot of the palace wall looked like they used to have wine in them. As far as I could tell, the barrels were just like the ones in the wine cellar of the Café Ankh, although these ones were empty.
But is Santa hat a... what's it called? Francophase?
The empty barrels were fairly useless, all in all. The empty barrels at the foot of the palace wall looked like...
Yeah, well. Yeah.
The palace walls were... I wasn't about to throw the grapple at the wall. At least not until I had some more rope. The palace wall...
No! Oh my god. Okay, so this is pointless right now. It's good to know we can come round here. God damn it, you two. What are you doing? Spamming my chat with bloody Christmas emotes, good grief. Right, so we got some more things of note. Let's go talk to Malaclips again.
I need your help again, Malaclips.
They'll all need my help sooner or later. They just don't know it yet.
The Milka brought some interesting cargo into Ankh-Morpork, I heard.
Oh, yes. Most people know that the Milka is part of the advanced fleet for the Klatchian Navy, but not everyone knows that they are smuggling top-grade Klatchian pornography into the city. It's all part of the Brindisian Illuminati's plot to corrupt the moral minority and make Ankh-Morpork the most depraved city on the Discworld.
It's already the most depraved city on the Discworld.
Now you see what we're up against. Actually, the porn wasn't a patch on the homemade stuff.
The Milka...
Oh, it's all... Now that...
Oh, okay.
The Milka... It's...
Now that...
Wine barrel, wine barrel, wine... Right, hiding place. Can you help
With
me?
the Assassin's Guild...
Yeah.
I'll have the truth.
prosper and all that bollocks. Right. That was useless. Alright, let's go talk to this guy. Let's go quiz him.
Open up.
You again. What do you want now?
Ah, here we go.
Some crates from the Milka were brought here. They're in the name Varberg.
I can't discuss that with you. That's official guild business.
Wow. I could almost hear the capital letters.
Well,
I guess that's it.
Good. Don't hurry back.
Oh, I've got an idea. Let's talk to...
Ah, Mr. Luton, it is always a pleasure to see you. I trust you have brought something with you that will be to my liking.
I haven't brought you the sword yet, if that's what you mean.
I'm a patient troll, sir, but there are limits to my patience.
Alright. I'm not telling you about the crates. The hiding place. What about the gold-plated
The jewel wasn't the kind of thing I wanted to discuss with just anyone.
Well,
I'll be back.
And hope I look.
don't know why that triggers. Oh, Christ. Alright. Let's try Pseudopolis Yard, I guess. All these clues and we're stumped again already.
I need your help again, Nobby. Well, okay, I suppose. The Jew... Do you know anything about... Give me a break, Luton, I don't... Do you know any... Give me a... Do you know... No. With the assassins...
Well, that was useless.
Yeah, right, Luton.
Why? This always happens. Well, we could talk to him about the crates.
Still here?
No.
What can you tell me about the cargo you just brought in?
It was heavy, and it was all packed into crates.
That's not very helpful. It's what was in the crates I'm interested in.
If they wanted us to know what was in the crates, they would tell us.
But you could be shipping anything. Aren't you just a little curious?
A little being curious makes for a lot of being dead.
Don't you ever peek?
Even if I did, I wouldn't tell anyone about it.
What can you tell me about the cargo you just brought in?
It was heavy.
Don't you...
Even if...
What can you tell me? Aren't...
A little...
Don't...
Even...
No, same dialogue, 'cause it's all crates.
With the assassin...
Worth
Sorry,
one
I
shot.
wouldn't know anything about that.
Well, we actually asked him about the gold.
Well, safe for... If that's...
Let's talk to some mail about the crates.
Some ale. Mr. Luton. Do you know anything about the... Sorry, Mr. Luton. Do you know anything about the Varberg crates that were on the Milka? Sorry, Mr. I'd already... With the...
Oh, God. I haven't even been going for that long and I'm stumped already.
How's Two Conkers?
A little better, I think.
Does he know about us?
Two conkers? No, I never told.
Why not?
He's
You're mad.
Two conk. It wasn't. I didn't. He. I mean. I was. He gave.
Oh, at least he kept that.
Yeah. I wanted.
At least you.
No. I kept my. Our marriage.
Alright.
I still haven't found anywhere to hide two conkers, I'm sorry.
You keep looking?
I don't have much choice, do I? I'm trying to track a set of crates that were supposed to be...
That's me, Ilse Warburg.
You never told me your name was Warburg.
Names weren't that important to us back then, if you remember.
I guess not. So the crates are yours?
Mine and two conkers, yes. They should be at the Guild of Archaeologists by now.
What was in them?
Artifacts from the dig in Sorta. Nothing valuable except in the historical sense.
I need to get to them.
I can get you into the guild if you want, but it'll cost you.
What do you want?
Find us somewhere safe to hide two conkers. He's not safe while Remora is looking for him.
That's true. But nowhere in the city is going to be safe.
You'll have to find somewhere that no one would even think of looking for him.
It'd take a miracle to conceal two conkers, and the patrician has outlawed miracles.
That's my price. If you hide two conkers, I'll sign you into the guild. You'll never get in there without me.
I'll do what I can. That's all I can do.
That's all I ask.
If I find somewhere to hide him, you'll take me to the crates?
I'll get you into the guild, but you're on your own after that. That's my offer. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
Okay, I think I know where the hiding place is. I just don't know how to activate it, or whether we can activate it right now. So we're gonna have to trigger something else then. Hold on.
I didn't think they had anything more. And if I couldn't find somewhere smart to hide the little foreign guy, he was going to end up deader than 6 buckets of fish bait. I'll be back.
We're not going.
Okay, let's think. They're not gonna know about hiding places. Actually, hold on. We've still got to find that dwarf, don't we?
Can we talk? Business is slow. We can talk. Time to
Well, it sounds like we could actually walk over here and just talk to Warb rather than just having to talk to
Hello
Warb.
again, Warb.
Loot.
Alright, mate. Tell me about this gem.
The jewel was... With the... Do you know any...
I'm afraid I can't.
Just kind of relying on him though. Do you know about the bloody gem? Right, none of these we can activate because I don't have the key. Fly Swerve. Right, they found. Hang on. You want to know about the gem? Let's go talk to Five.
I'm back. How's to... Does he know...
Shit.
I'm back. How... Does he know about...
He might as.
I was...
You. I'm.
Oh, that's... He came... That's why you left.
Yeah. I got. I want.
At least... So...
No. I kept.
Whew.
So you've been traveling with 2 conkers for quite a while now.
Yes, we've been making our way around the Circle Sea. There have been several digs.
And everything you find goes back to the Agatean Empire.
No, not now. There's no point. Most of it comes here to Ankh-Morpork. We give it to the Guild of Archaeologists, Antiquarians, and Tomb Evacuators. They have quite a collection of artifacts.
That's it? You spend your life digging up junk that no one ever sees?
We're looking for something. Something two conquers wants to take back to the Agatean Empire.
What is it?
A jewel.
Jewel. Find the jewel, yes?
Tell me about this jewel.
Gold-plated jewel. Very old.
I thought the Agatean Empire had plenty of gold.
Special artifact. Gold to be making it come from Agatean Empire. Stolen by one of your gods. Great fortune to Empire if it can be returned to us.
How will you know if you found it?
Gold-plated jewel not common. This jewel be having inscription. Unquam paratas.
It means forever ready.
You don't even know if this jewel actually exists, do you?
We've just come from a dig in Sorta. It's a village near the ruins of the ancient city of Sort. We found inscriptions there of many artifacts, including this jewel. It exists, all right. We just haven't been able to find it.
So that's the jewel. I went through this dialogue last time, I'll go through it again.
If all these inscriptions were in Sorta, what are you doing here in Ankh-Morpork?
That's just it. The inscriptions claim that the jewel is here in Ankh-Morpork. Apparently, after the fall of Sort, the jewel was held by monks in the village of Sorta. But over 4 centuries, the Knights of the Order of the Sacred Tulip went out on quests to find it.
Why?
They were knights. They went on foolish quests all the time. It was a knight thing. I think all the different orders competed to outdo each other in foolishness. I heard the Knights of the Fairly Pink Triangle spent 2 centuries looking for a better name.
And you think one of the knights found it?
Apparently. The inscription said he took it to Ankh-Morpork, there to guard it forever.
Forever?
You know these ancient inscriptions. They have a tendency to exaggerate everything. It probably meant nearly forever.
I'll be back.
We're not going in.
Okay, so that's basically a dead end right now. They're after a jewel. They need to hide somewhere. Now basically, there's a little rafter on the top of the Patrician's Palace where we can hide them. But we haven't got to that yet. Also, we don't have any rope for the grappling hook to get in there. And we can't get into here because we need Ilsa. We need to find a hiding place for Ilsa. So that's not happening. Let's go back to the office. Literally just so I can look through the notebook. I can click on... Oh my god. Single click. There we go. Right. So... Got money, cool. Crowbar. Useful on something. Tooth. Can use that to etch out some glass or whatever. Grappling iron, need some rope for that. Coin, that's an artifact or something. Iconograph, we need to find this dwarf. That we can use when we get inside the Archaeology Guild, because that's probably... That's the code or whatever on the crate. The money you took in, that's where the sword is, that's what we need. Comes over these people. I guess we could carry on with the Sapphire Light case. There's also Horst. Oh, we could poke the archaeologist with Horst. Where's the crystal? What was the
The
description?
guild coat of arms. Open up.
You again. What do you want now?
Is Horst a member of the guild?
Horst? You must be joking.
Why?
Horst is a treasure hunter of the lowest possible kind. Money is all he cares about. No, the guild would never take him, even if he applied.
They're not going to let Sapphire because she's got nothing to do with it. Not many killings.
Do you know anything about...
Damn it! Bloody.
Open...
What?
Bloody misclicks, right.
Do you know anything about a golden sword?
A golden sword, you say? The gods must be growing unimaginative. Swords to steal souls, swords to proclaim kings. Ooh. You'd think they could come up with something new after all this time. It's always swords. Or if it's not, it's horns. Horns to summon the armies of the dead. Horns to bring about the apocalypse.
Forget I mentioned it.
Oh well, never mind. Did we ask about the jewel? We probably did, but whatever.
The Jew...
Okay. Mouse, please.
Some crates from the Milka were brought here. They're in the name Varburg.
I can't that's...
I could...
For anything worth discussing that will give us a clue.
Do you know any...
Here's...
I'm gonna ask the gods about Sapphire. Honestly. Actually, Malika.
Do you know what...
Never...
Or not. Ooh.
What do you know about a dwarf named Al-Kali?
Never...
Do you know...
Oh, yes. They're from out of town, but they have a fully paid-up membership of the guild.
Really?
Would I lie to you?
Plenty of people would.
Yeah, but plenty of people dislike you as well. But only I come out and tell you to your face. See? I'm honest about my hatred of almost everyone.
That must make the lonely winter evenings all the more bearable.
Will Carlotta know anything?
What do you know about a woman named Carlotta?
Never.
Oh,
Does 3712V mean anything to you?
Stop.
Does 3...
no. Bloody cursor. Alright, I'm off.
I'm back. I've got a...
Make it fast.
This priest you mentioned. His name wouldn't be Malaclips, would it?
That's the one. Do you know him?
We've met. What do you make of him?
I reckon he's the only one in the city who knows what's really going on.
Which is funny, because I think he's a deranged lunatic whose only pleasure in life is getting gullible fools to listen to him.
So, I'm a gullible fool, am I? Who bought those magic beans off that gypsy the other month?
Hey, you should have tried the casserole we made with them. It was magic.
Oh god, I was hoping it wasn't resort to this, but it's literally, let's find everyone, let's go through our entire inventory until something works.
I don't know.
Me.
Ready.
Can you think of any reason that
We don't know.
I'm trying. Any thought?
I can't help you with that. I can't help you.
I didn't. This. Do you know anything about the?
Do we?
The palace buys.
Why do you want to?
Just a casual.
Your own.
It's a.
Most hob.
Where do the?
Around the corner.
Well, when they've been.
See you around.
If you.
Because I really don't want to have to look up a guide for this, because good grief. Let's inquire about bloody Sapphire again.
I've got some more questions.
Sapphire, leave her.
So, how have things been?
Things way they always been. Slow, dull.
But you've kept yourself amused, haven't you?
Don't know what you mean.
Actually, hold on.
Do you recognize?
You must think.
Do you know anything
You ain't.
with the?
What is there?
You heard of the counterweight killings?
Yeah?
What do you know about them?
Sapphire know they called counterweight killing. Sapphire know people killed. That all Sapphire know.
Alright.
You lied to me, Sapphire. Strung me along with that Madame Lodestone story.
What? No. Sapphire told truth.
The troll in Madame Lodestone's grave wasn't Therma.
How you tell?
Malachite told me.
You trust him?
He's too stupid to lie, and you're too smart not to.
Sapphire not smart. Big dumb troll, like all the other trolls.
Don't play games, Sapphire. I know you're smarter than the average troll, although I could say the same about some mushrooms.
Look, Sapphire don't know why someone would switch bodies. Sapphire just trying to help.
She was lying to me. I could feel it. She was obviously hiding something, but it was apparent I needed to know more if I was going to worm it out of her.
Okay, so we need more.
So, you won this money at the races.
No, not at races. At casino.
Oh, yeah, that's right. At the casino. I know about your problems.
Problems?
The debts. The huge losses. You're struggling just to keep your head above water. I bet you've had to make all kinds of nasty compromises just to keep yourself going.
What you talking about? Who been saying such things about me?
Does it matter?
It mattered to Sapphire.
All right. I heard it from Whirl, and he should know.
Huh, Whirl. He don't know everything goes on at Saturnalia.
Okay, so that was a dead end last time. Hold on.
Do you know a troll?
Horst? You not involved with Horst, are you, Luton? You in trouble if you are.
You know him then?
No, Sapphire not know Horst, and Sapphire keep it that way.
Well, since we're here, we'll try and talk to Mannequin about Sapphire.
Come to persecute me some more, Luton? A man's got to have a hobby. Do you know? I know a lot of people. That doesn't mean I need to speak with Sapphire. Try and imagine how much I care. Look, is she here or not? She's in her dressing room. Where did Sapphire get all that money from? Ha, ha, ha. You never give up, dear. That's considered an asset in my line of work. Just leave me alone, Luton. I'm sick of the sight of you. I'm sick of talking to you. And I am sick of all your damn questions. Look, you know I'm not gonna give up. Why not just pretend you've held out for a commendable length of time and finally cracked? It could be our little secret. Luton, if anyone starts saving up to get an assassin for you, let me know, will you? That's one cause I'd gladly give generously to. In the meantime, what about Sapphire's money? I didn't even know she had any money. She claims to have won it over at the casino. At Saturnalia? You've got to be kidding. If Sapphire had a big win, the whole town would know about it by now. No, I'd be prepared to bet it has something to do with whoever she met when she missed her shift. Who did she meet? I've no idea. All I know is she missed her shift because she had to meet someone. Thanks for your help. Oh, it's always a pleasure, Luton.
Oh, finally. There's a breakthrough.
Do you know anything about Sapphire's losing streak? Leave me alone. This is...
Alright, bye, Mannequin.
I've got some more
Alright,
questions
Sapphire.
for you, Sapphire.
Sapphire.
Oh, no, you're not. Sapphire have secret meetings.
I hear you had a mysterious meeting not too long ago. Not long after, you turn up with a lot of money. Sounds like an awfully big coincidence to me.
Stop harassing Sapphire. Already told Luton. Won the money at Saturnalia.
Right. So, you won a lot of money at the casino.
Yes, already told ya. Big win.
You won big at the casino, but no one at the casino seems to remember you winning.
They lie. Sapphire won big.
And this mysterious meeting as well. You say that had nothing to do with the money.
Forget about meeting. Meeting not important.
Not important, eh? I think it is. I say you met with someone and they gave you the money. Someone who had something to hide. Someone who'd pay good money to keep it quiet. Who was it, Sapphire?
No one.
It wasn't no one who paid you, Sapphire. It was someone who was interested in me, wasn't it? Someone who didn't want me digging around after Therma. Why? What's so important that someone would pay you to cover up for them? Who is it?
No one.
You'd better tell me, because I'm going to find out one way or another. And if you don't tell me, when I find out who it is, I'll tell them you told me where to find them.
No, she'll kill me.
Who? Who'd kill you?
Therma. It was Therma. I've been blackmailing Therma. She not want to be found.
Therma is still alive?
Yeah?
Good. Arrange a meeting with her for me.
What?
You heard me. Face it, Sapphire, your little scam is broken. If you want me to keep quiet about your little windfall, you're going to have to fix a meeting with Therma for me.
Therma won't do it.
Well, you'd better make her do it, because otherwise I'm going to go straight to the Guild of Thieves, Burglars, and Allied Trades to tell them about you. They don't take kindly to unlicensed blackmail.
You do that to me?
Look into my eyes and tell me if I'm bluffing.
All right. Give me some time. I'll leave message at your office when it arranged.
I look forward to it. It's a pleasure doing business with you, Sapphire.
You're a cold one, Luton.
Not as cold as you, I reckon. I decided to leave Sapphire alone after that. I'd got what I wanted.
Oof. Oh, finally some progress. Also, hello, Rooster. Hope coffee is good. To be honest, you didn't miss much, because I was faffing around, trying to talk to people and getting nowhere. So that's good. Let's see if there's a meeting. There is not. So let's go somewhere else.
I see Sir has returned.
Sir has.
Who would Sir like to see?
Is Carlotta home?
Alas, no. What a shame that Sir's trip has been wasted. Perhaps Sir would like to leave now.
Tell her I called by.
Why, my loins stir at the very thought of serving you in this way, sir.
I think I'd better be going.
So soon? But Sir has barely had the chance to irreparably damage the furnishings.
Is that enough time, or should we go somewhere else? Nope, okay. Hang on, give me 2 seconds. Okay, we're back. Now we can tap back into the game. And my audio cable's going funny. Oh my god. I should probably talk to Just
I need your help again, Mallet.
They...
Oh, okay, so the Sapphire quest is basically done. Quest? Dead case. You know what I mean. see what else got scribbled out. It's literally just Malachi now.
Does the word Azil mean anything to you?
There's some
Azil?
dialogue to...
Yes. He was an Ascari in the Great Neff a couple of centuries ago, involved in the Great Light Dam conspiracy, which culminated in the theft of 12 barrels of light from the sacred distilleries of E, the Lost City.
I'll have to...
Charmed, I'm sure, right. Now we've got to trigger something else. Because there's no point asking the Count about the barrels, because... I know about the jewel.
Who?
Is the Count receiving...
No.
I've got a few more questions.
Go.
The jewel...
Okay, so no, he's not gonna know about it. Just leave! Oh. That's so dumb. It's amazing. Because I've got to trigger something. I've got to like do something else. Before that spawns. Actually, hold on. Ah!
Well,
Okay.
for a brief moment I could... Then I... You...
Yeah, we've...
The... With the...
place. Okay.
Do you know...
Fine.
Yeah, he's not going to say anything. Okay.
Do you... Malachite was a...
Forced.
There didn't seem much point in asking Malachite about himself. He wasn't frank. It was look...
Oh, no, I can't yet. I've got
Always
to... I need to get the invite from Sapphire to say that we're meeting Verma, and then I can give Malachite that to say that's where we're meeting. Oh. What else can we do? One new bit of dialogue we dredged up. Yes, there's no point in talking about hiding places to anybody. Oh, sod it. Pizza.
I have some more. Ask them, if you must. Do you know? Do you know I prefer to involve my... Do you know any... I prefer... With the...
Yeah, they're not gonna really help. Oh, actually.
I couldn't tell what the crates contained, and frankly, I didn't much care. Outgoing cargo wasn't going to tell me much. I needed to know whether Mundy had brought something with him.
Well, we already know this. I'm just here to look for some rope. I think we can get back onto the ship. But, like, there's literally no point, and I don't think there's any rope there.
I headed back the way...
Oh, yeah, hang on.
Someone was definitely following me. They were keeping their distance, but I managed to briefly catch sight of the dwarf who was following me.
I forgot about this. I forgot that if you keep going back to the same place...
I doubled back on myself, trying to get a good look at the dwarf who was following me. It was Al-Khali. I slipped away into the streets before he realized I'd spotted him. Still here? With the...
They're all the same thing.
Sorry, I wouldn't.
Well, if that's possible.
How about now? No? How about now? Now? Oh my god. Just want the bloody thing to trigger, but apparently I've got to do something else. I've probably got to complete like another bit of one of the cases.
I need your help again. I suppose.
There's no point talking about Reagan. No, this is a... not really a one-off, but one of those rare occasions that I do adventure games, Rooster. I mainly do PS1 games, honestly. And stuff of that ilk. But I like this game, and finally got it running. I don't want to show it off. The problem is, it's quite hard, and I haven't played it in ages. So, you gotta find the right trigger point to get anything working. I guess so, yeah, because the last adventure game I did was Curse of Monkey Island, which I did stream again, technically, with the new mic.
Have you heard of a troll called Horst, Nobby?
Oh yeah, he's a treasure hunter, he is.
How come you've heard of him?
Well, Vimes always asks us to keep an eye on him when he's in town.
Is he a lawbreaker?
Well,
I pretty asked him this, like, ages ago.
Tell me more about these counterweight killings.
I'm not really sure I should, Luton. Sorry.
Come on, Nobby. You can trust me.
Well, no. Look, Luton, I can't tell you.
Why not? Shouldn't I know?
It's not to be discussed with anyone who's not part of the case.
Ah, I see. Well, that makes sense. Obviously, you wouldn't want people not involved with the case learning about it.
Exactly.
And I'm the prime suspect in that case, right?
Well, you're the prime suspect in the Mundy case. But the prime suspect in the counterweight killings is that foreign spy who's been killing all the prominent people. Like that bloke up at Unseen University and that fellow in the Patrician's Palace.
Right. Well, I won't ask any more questions then, seeing as how I shouldn't.
Thank you, Luton. I appreciate it.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh boy. Alright, hang on. Aha, there we go.
Sapphire had a collection of trawl cosmetics, a granite filing stone, some colored sand, and various bottles. It all looked like junk to me. The mirror was a sad indictment of Sapphire's misconception that there was something glamorous about her job. What do you know? I can see my face in the mirror. Sapphire had a...
There might have been something behind here, but I can't remember. Alright. Oh, your broken sword. I've got the first broken sword, but then I got stuck on a sliding puzzle and I gave up. And Luton likes getting stuck behind this stupid bench. No, no, Luton.
I couldn't imagine who would pay attention to the notices in a seedy dive like the Parrot, but I guess they were of interest to someone.
I should probably stream Broken Sword at some point, give it a go.
Learn the ancient mystic art of the Path of the Scorpion. Unique mail-order lessons on this famous self-defense method by Grand Master Lobsang Dibbler.
Okay, I think we need that for like Act 4 or something. Right, okay, we looked in Sapphire's room. She's not there. Oh, for God's sake. Okay, so we need to progress with something else. But what? What can we progress with? Oh, here we go.
They'd put a chalk outline where Mundy's body fell. What was it like, I wonder, to have only a white silhouette to mark your passing? I could have erased the outline, but there didn't seem any point. Sooner or later, someone else would do it, and then there would be no mark left of Mundy. The bed looked neither comfortable nor inviting. It hardly seemed worth searching the bed. The watch had already searched it, and frankly, it was a pretty nasty bed.
We got that, we've got that. Frayed rope, we can't get our rope back, we need new rope. Just barrels in the wall, isn't it? Yep, okay.
I'm back. Do you
I don't know.
me?
Keeps going on about Malaclips. But we've already talked to Malaclips. About literally everything under the sun.
So, you're... If... See you around.
Yeah,
If you...
we've put that up. There, whatever.
I see.
Sir,
Who?
is Car...
Alas. Perhaps.
Tell her I...
Why, my...
The book was an old edition of Twerp's Peerage, probably a collector's item. Why do rich families feel the need to leave old, valuable books lying around in their reception halls? It's bad enough that they have so much more money than you without rubbing it in. The book was about the lineage and heraldry of the nobility of the city of Ankh. I didn't understand much of it, but I noticed that there were handwritten corrections in it. It was her handwriting, all right. There was something about the wooden staircase that was really impressive. I think it might have been the thought that it probably cost more to make than everything I owned.
Oop, mouse.
I confess, I was consumed with avarice, but I wasn't about to steal an entire staircase.
What do we do? We're literally waiting about for a message, but we've got to trigger something.
A roulette table sat in one corner of the casino, but it didn't keep my attention.
Let's talk to Whirl about some things.
Can we talk, or do I have...
Business waking.
Do you recognize...
Sure, that's Reagan.
You know him?
He's a regular here at Saturnalia. He doesn't gamble much, but when he does, he wins. The rest of the time, he hangs around in the crowd.
Who does he talk to?
Hey, I don't spy on the customers.
Why not?
I have to keep my eyes on the tables.
When did you last see him?
It's been days, I think.
Anything else you can remember about him?
Yeah, he has a safety deposit box.
A deposit box?
A lot of valuables change hands here. Some people like to have somewhere safe to keep them.
But you say Reagan didn't gamble much.
But I don't know why he has a box, I just know that he has one.
I had a feeling...
So I should probably save soon, so I'll do that in a minute.
Do you know Carlotta?
Well enough.
She's a regular here.
Oh yeah, she likes to come in every once in a while. She usually ends up betting with somebody else's money, and she never loses control.
What do you mean?
Well, you can win or lose in a single game. That's just the way it is. But sooner or later, people lose control and bet all they have left. And then that's it. For most of them, they don't care. Mostly they're just big shots with more money than sense who like the glamour of Saturnalia. Some of them are hopefuls who can't afford to lose the money they've wagered. But those that are really good at the game, they never lose control. They know just when to play and just when to quit.
And Carlotta's one of them.
Carlotta is always in control.
Heard of a big shot troll by the name of Jasper Horst?
I've heard of him, but I don't know him. He doesn't come round here in person.
I'm looking for a jewel. It's gold-plated.
Oh, we
A
can talk to him
gold-plated
about
jewel. I've not heard
Alright.
anything about that. But if you find it, I'll bet I can find a buyer for you.
Never mind.
it. Oh, that's useless.
Do you know any...
That means nothing to me.
Do you...
That means...
With the assassin...
Hold on.
What?
I'm just a creep.
Do you...
I don't think...
Do you know a troll...
No, I didn't click that. I was clicking off.
Time to excuse myself from the table, I think.
Oh god, this is mind-numbingly tedious. Where do we go?
The rubble was definitely the body of a troll. But according to Malachite, it wasn't Therma's body. I examined the body closely, but all I could see of interest were the troll's diamond teeth glinting at me.
We still haven't used the tooth thing yet. Active colours is out at the moment.
I need...
They'll...
Do you know a woman by... Have you seen her around the temple?
Oh, yes. I know her. She's part of one of the darkest conspiracies. And they're plotting to take over the world by stealing the lost treasures of Irata and turning them towards a dark purpose. Don't trust her, Luton. Trust no one.
You know about Mundy's murder?
Of course.
Was she here when he was killed?
Yes. Yes, she was.
Okay, interesting.
Do you know anything about obscure jewels?
I know that the tear of Ofla has been stolen again.
Again?
They spend 1 month of the year admiring it in the lost jeweled Temple of Doom, and 11 months of the year tracking it down after someone steals it.
And the other month?
In the 13th month, they have to fill out all their insurance forms.
Insewer ants?
An Agatean concept. People pay money against the odds of a particular disaster or theft occurring. It's complicated.
You think, like, I could have sworn I asked him about the jewel earlier, and he said, no, we can't tell anyone about the jewel. Some people can just tell anything to you.
With the Assassin's Guild...
It was just the hiding place last time. He's just missing wine barrels.
I'll have to... The truth.
What am I missing?
I have some more questions. Ask them. I asked Mooncalf if Carlotta was in the temple when Mundy was murdered. Frankly, he didn't seem very sure. His face took on a vacant look, like someone trying to remember who won the boat race in the year of the asthmatic antelope.
Yes. Yes, I believe I saw her in the temple that night.
Does she come here often?
She is indeed a regular of the Temple of Small Gods. I myself have lectured her at great length on the virtues of the cult of Anu Anu.
Why does she come here?
Why does anyone come here, Luton? For answers. For absolution. Perhaps simply out of boredom. But mostly for something to give her life a meaning.
What makes you think life has a meaning?
20 million zealots can't all be wrong.
There are 20 million members of your cult?
Not of this cult. But every religion is testament to the quest for meaning, even if our cult is the only true religion.
Don't you feel like you're just servicing a group of selfish, self-obsessed, half-wit deities whose ability to survive without you is considerably less than your ability to survive without them?
Watch your tongue, Luton. Talk like an atheist and you can expect a lightning bolt to strike you where you least expect.
I'll take my chances.
Okay, no, Rooster. Basically, when you do dialogue and you get a new clue, a little blue icon here of a notebook will appear. Same with if you get a new location, there'll be a map. Same if you get an item, there'll be the item, etc, etc. I think those are the only 3 pop-ups. Notebook, item, and location. So yeah, if I did get... He just rambles, Malaclips. So yeah, if I did get a new thing for the notebook, it would appear up here. You go, you've got a new quest card. Oh my god. Because I've literally talked to everyone about every bloody pissing thing. We finally get some progress. And we've got to wait about till we've done something else.
I see.
Alright.
Who?
Is Carl...
Why?
Is the... I've got a few more questions for you, Count.
Yes. Go.
Alright, let's grill him.
I didn't... This... Do you know anything about the wine barrels the Milka was carrying?
I'm sorry, but I don't...
Do you know anything about the crate belonging to the von Uberwalds that was on the Milka?
Please do not...
But you are a Van Uberwald, you...
Do you know anything about the Varburg...
I'm sorry.
With the assassin...
Alright.
Does the word...
Yeah. As the mad Aska, he rose to power before even the light dams of Sorka were completed. I remember he used to punish his detractors by burying them upside down in the sand. Do you know, I think he honestly believed they might grow into trees. He was quite mad, you know. Quite mad.
How long ago was this?
Oh, I don't know. A couple of 100 years ago, at least.
You seem to remember it like yesterday.
I am an old man. My memory plays tricks.
That was a fat lot of good. Right, I'm just brute force.
Can you think of...
Mr. I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry.
Luckily, he's just gonna go, I don't know what you're talking about.
I asked the Count if he knew where Carlotta was when Mundy was murdered, but he wasn't sure. He told me that she wasn't in the mansion, but that her comings and goings were a mystery to him.
Well, basically, apart from it being written down, we know that she was in the Temple of Small Gods when Mundy was murdered. Okay, cool.
Do you know a woman...
These days...
What?
These days...
Do you know...
Malachite. There's a name I have not heard in many years. Yes, I know of him.
How?
As it happens, he broke into this mansion several years ago and stole several valuable heirlooms that were never recovered. Incredibly, the City Watch was able to catch him before the Thieves Guild did, and he was imprisoned.
For some reason, I decided not to tell the Count that Malachite had escaped. I had a feeling the troll could still be useful to me. Maybe as a rockery one day. Do you know anything?
Mr.
Can you... Do you know a...
Horst? Horst? Is Horst here in Ankh-Morpork? Mark my words, young man. This is poor augur for us all. Yes, yes. I suspect we shall find Horst is involved in Reagan's disappearance.
Frankly, I'm not convinced he has anything to do with Reagan's disappearance.
Well, all the same, watch your step if Horst is in town.
Give us something better, but no. Okay. He's not going to talk about those. We've got to talk about those. Okay. Yeah, whatever.
I'll be back.
Counts. Also, I haven't saved, so let's do that. Because I haven't saved this entire sodding time. Because literally, well, not literally, no. Basically, no progress has been made apart from just now. So Sapphire is progression. We need to do more progression before we can carry on. There's no point in brute forcing anything with Malachite.
Still here.
Not from.
When do you sail?
We all.
Oh yeah, we've talked about all of that crap. Pink building, that's Horst's abode. I could ask him about some stuff.
Does three...
Sorry.
No, I've already brute force stuff with this guy, so never mind.
Ah, it is always a pleasure to see you. I trust you have brought something with you that will be to my liking.
I haven't brought...
I'm a patient troll, sir, but there are limits.
Ah, here we go.
Why should I trust you when you clearly don't trust me?
A strange question, sir, and one that borders on insulting.
Send your cronies to tail me again and you'll see just how insulting I can get.
Ah, I take it Mr. Alkali has been somewhat overzealous in his desire to keep an eye on you.
I don't appreciate being watched.
And I don't appreciate being made to wait, Mr. Luton. Give us the sword. And I'm sure you will find that all your other problems will resolve themselves.
All things to those who wait.
Patience, sir, is not something I have ever mastered. You should bear that in mind.
I put a flavor text there, I guess. Ooh, hang on.
Do you recognize the dwarf in this iconograph?
I cannot say I have made their acquaintance.
Take that as a no, then.
What exactly is your connection with Carlotta?
She didn't mention me to you? I'm not surprised. Carlotta is a model for deception. Never tell the truth when a lie will do. As for her connection with me, she and I are associates.
That doesn't tell me much.
Alas, sir, you are right. But what it tells accurately. And that should make up for the deficit of information conveyed.
So Carlotta's an associate, and Alkali's an associate. You still haven't told me what you mean by associate, though.
Let's just say that the three of us share a common goal.
Does Alkali work for you?
Mr. Alkali and I have a complicated working relationship. He and I have been associates for some time.
So Carlotta's an... You still haven't...
Let's...
Do you know a woman...
I cannot...
Do you?
I cannot...
Hopefully that would have triggered something.
Can you tell...
I had assumed you would know more than... I know only what I've heard. That there's a spy from the counterweight continent in Ankh-Morpork.
What do you know?
A strange... But you have your... I must say, disguising the murder as a counter...
Yeah, we've already asked him most of the stuff already.
There didn't seem... You're still in...
Natural. I am not a fickle
But you won't...
Come now, sir. An hour. I am not about to give you for nothing.
Perhaps I...
Perhaps. Nonetheless, I am in no doubt that no one can...
You could... We'll see. You're still...
No.
Perhaps.
You could be right. We'll see. The jewel wasn't the kind of thing...
Bloody misclicks. Also, thank you, Ace. Yes, this is Terry Pratchett's Discworld, correct.
Do you know anything...
Become, sir. Let us... Become, sir.
Do you...
Becomes.
With...
Yeah, this isn't getting us anywhere.
I wasn't about to flash the stolen tooth around. Someone might tell Lord Salachi, and the next thing I knew I'd have a blade in my back and a receipt from the Assassin's Guild on my bedside table. I'll be back to continue our conversation.
And hopefully to seal our deal, sir. I look forward to it. I like a man who knows how to use a doorknob.
I don't know why that triggers the map for me again. Because it literally doesn't unlock anywhere new. Do we finally know we pissing don't? Oh. For fuck's sake. What have we got to do?
I'm back.
A little better.
Does he know?
No, I never.
Why?
He's.
Your...
I.
You...
I was.
Oh, that... He came... That's...
Yes, I got. I was.
So...
No, I.
Right, don't do that because it's always the same bloody thing.
You two must know about a lot of ancient artifacts.
Of course. Why do you ask?
Ever heard of a golden sword?
Golden sword? You have to be being more precise. Must be 50 golden sword artifacts in Agathian Empire alone.
But then they do have a lot of gold. That's why they call it the Orient.
Ha 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 ha, funny. We're not gonna know about the tree. We've been over before.
Do you know what troll?
Horst. I've heard of him. He's a treasure hunter, isn't he?
So it seems.
I heard that one of his employees was in Sota when we were. I don't know what they were doing, though.
Do you know what...
Sorry, but
Can you...
I don't...
What do you...
Sorry, but they're not...
Does 3...
Well, it could be a catalogue number.
A catalogue number? For what?
In the Guild of Archaeologists, they have a collection of artifacts there. And they all have a catalogue number.
Are you sure that's what it is?
No, of course not. It could mean anything. But it's a possibility, at least.
I'll be back.
We're not...
Just like Samael had told me, there was a box of receipts in the cellar. I rooted carefully through the receipts, and the only recent purchaser was the patrician. It seems he'd bought a number of barrels of fine wine to take to the palace. I guess the golem I'd seen at the cafe was owned by Lord Veterinary.
There we go. Hold on. That's just a... Okay.
Al-Khali was still following me. But he was concealing himself better since my little discussion with Horst.
That's literally just because we've gone back to the same place. Alright.
Most of the wine barrels in the Café Ankh cellar had been brought into Ankh-Morpork on the Milka. I didn't really need...
Alright, let's see if this works.
As it happened, I'd have a much better reason to open a barrel later.
Okay, that didn't work.
The empty barrels at the foot of the palace wall looked like they used to have wine in them. As far as I could tell, the barrels were just like the ones in the wine cellar of the Café Ankh, although these ones were empty. These barrels had already been opened. I'm back. I've got a...
Make
with...
I'm honestly tempted to look up a guide in a second because this is getting ridiculous. So that's what I'm gonna do. I don't care anymore. Cap's disappeared for a bit, so give me a second. Yes, whatever, have cookies. And one of the two, please. Aha! Okay, we've missed something. The cat-looking building, that's the Cafe Young. Hold on. We have missed something, and it's
Still here.
Not for much longer.
right. So
I showed Reagan's picture to the first mate, and he recognized it.
Yes, I think that was the dwarf who pulled up in a carriage shortly after we docked. I think he collected some of the cargo, too.
Do you remember which way he went?
He drove away upwards at high speed. I wouldn't be surprised if he'd caused an accident somewhere down the line.
perfect, right. And I know who to talk to this about.
Well, safe voyage, if that's possible.
And I've not looked further than that, so we'll go from there.
I need your help again, Nobby.
Well, okay, I suppose.
Ah, Thunderbolts, here we go.
Did anyone report a speeding carriage 3 days ago?
Funny you should ask that. Sergeant Colon was almost run down by a carriage 3 days ago. He's been going on about it ever since. Says we ought to have speed limits for carriages.
How would you tell what speed a carriage was going?
Well, a watchman's instincts are never wrong.
You could always go for a more preventative approach.
Like what?
Well, you could ban carriages altogether.
Yeah, that'd work.
Hey, you could go one step further. You could ban people from Ankh-Morpork, and then there'd be no crime at all.
Well, there'd still be the trolls and the dwarfs, and the gargoyles, and the gnomes, and the undead and the golems. Of course, the golems don't make much crime, and the gargoyles' only crime is Avicide. And it's not like we're short of pigeons. But the trolls and the dwarfs, well, I mean, they make as much crime as any of the humans, maybe even more.
It's no fun when it's this easy. Like shooting fish at a barrel.
Eh?
Never mind. About this carriage the other night. Where did Colon see it?
I think he said it was headed for the Magdalen Bridge.
It wasn't much of a lead, but at least it was something. Usually you could only get a lead out of Nobby with a scalpel.
Perfect, right.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
Give that a save. Wait. Oh shit, F2 and F3 open the menus. Oh, that's cool. Oops.
The Magdalen Bridge was one of 10 bridges that linked the city of Ankh to the city of Morpork. It was an unremarkable structure, most famous for the number of suicides it attracted. The trouble with trying to drown yourself in the Ankh is that you're more likely to break a leg falling onto the thick crust of the river than actually come near any water. Still, if you were heavy enough, you could eventually sink into the depths. I can think of nicer ways to go, though, and much quicker ones, too. The River Ankh. Probably the only river in the universe on which you could chalk the outline of a corpse.
Okay, any bit of River Ankh is literally the same bit of dialogue.
Some fabric had caught on the railings of the bridge.
Some skid marks.
Something had clearly lost control on the bridge. Something with wheels. Beyond that, it was difficult to say. I wasn't about to scrape the marks off the bridge. The railings had been damaged. There was no telling when they'd become damaged, though. It wasn't as if I came this way every day. I doubt many people did. I wasn't strong enough to bend the railings back into shape, and frankly, what would be the point?
Okay.
I see.
Sir,
Who?
is the Count?
No.
I've got a few more questions.
Go.
Got some fabric.
Do you recognize this fabric?
Yes. It's familiar. Yes. I remember. It's from the carriage. I liked the carriage. Do you know where it is?
From Reagan's carriage?
Yes. Yes, from the canopy.
That's what I thought. I found someone who saw Reagan's carriage the other night.
Just let me know when you found Reagan. I...
Hang on, let's put 2 and 2 together here. God, this hitbox is awful on this bit. Right.
It seemed highly probable that the skid marks had been left by Reagan's carriage. If so, where was the carriage now? Was it possible that it was Reagan's body in the river?
Guess well, there's like another bit of rope around it.
I was hit by another inspiration. I could use the grapple to dredge the water under the bridge to see if there was anything down there. Unfortunately, I'd need very long arms.
I think we know someone with very long arms. Hello.
Well, I'm back. 3 nights ago, Reagan left the wharf in Ankh, heading hubwards in a carriage. Did you see him?
Don't know.
Okay, no, we don't need him yet.
Oh.
Okay. I probably could have worked that out myself, but never mind, I looked it up. Look, the ship's gone. Oh no. But there's a mooring line, so haha.
When the Milka
Can we still
left,
continue?
someone must have left one of the mooring lines behind. That was careless. Some people will steal anything. If I pride myself on anything, it's that I don't steal without a good reason. Well, I don't steal rope without a good reason.
Oh, okay.
Along the length of the wharf were hundreds of posts for mooring ships to. It seemed like a lot of bollards to me. What did I need bollards for? It wasn't like I could move them anyway. Some people will steal anything, and that includes me, it seems.
Perfect. Okay, so now we can dredge the river. Alright, that's fair enough, Rooster. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good night.
There was something down there. I was sure of it. But I wasn't strong enough to pull it up.
There's a clue.
Well,
To go here. Here, and then to here, and then something in the river. Right. And then, oh, this page.
listen carefully, Malachite. I've been patient with you, and you owe me a favor. I need you to use the grapple to pull something out of the River Ankh. I don't know for sure what it is, but it's big. Too big for me to lift. But you could do it, and I figure you owe me one.
Find Therma!
All right, you big dumb troll. I'll carry on looking for Therma if you help me get this thing out of the river. Do we have a deal?
I pull thing. You find Therma.
Yes? You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. Or something. Whatever you want scratched, within reason.
Don't want scratching. Find Therma.
Okay. You pull thing, I find Therma. Got it?
Need grapple.
That may be the first intelligent thing you've said to me.
Here you go, mate.
Ready now?
You lead.
With pleasure. I hadn't been able to move whatever it was in the river. Malachite pulled it up onto the bridge like it was made of paper. I wasn't surprised to learn it was Reagan's carriage, but it still wasn't clear how it ended up going off the bridge. Amidst the wreckage, I found a small ornamental box. But before I could examine it in detail, Malachite took an interest. I didn't want to give it to him, but he looked like he'd rupture a fault line if I didn't. He kept insisting that the box proved that Therma was alive, or at least that's my best interpretation of what he was trying to say. With his usual annoying habit, Malachite just walked off, taking the box with him. That left me to get back to my usual habit of not really knowing what was going on.
Right. What's got written down? Reagan's murder. Interesting.
The carcass of Reagan's carriage lay on the bridge like a beached whale. I searched it, but I'd already found everything of interest. The remains of a crate was all that was left. There was no doubt that it was Reagan, and there was no doubt that he was dead. The poor sap must have suffocated in the Ankh. There was no doubt the poor... I searched Reagan's body, but all I found was a pair of tiny bite marks on his ankle. Either he'd been bitten by a snake or a very small vampire. I searched...
Here we go.
One thing had been bugging me since I'd found Reagan's body. In the iconograph that the Count had given me, Reagan was bald. Here, in the flesh, Reagan had a full head of hair. I had to pull hard on his toupee to get it off. Reagan must have glued it on to stop it from flying off as he drove the carriage. Underneath the toupee was a small key. I guess it must have been important, or he wouldn't have glued it to his head.
A key from Reagan. I wonder where that leads. Do a quick save. Right, we'll tell the Count later. Right now, I want to see what's in that safety deposit box.
I figured a really good private investigator could do a lot of painstaking research and work out which box belonged to Reagan. But I figured, hey, the guy's a dwarf. So I just tried all the lockers on the bottom row. It fitted into box 39 like a glove. Eventually. Inside was an envelope and a bracelet with carved wooden charms. The plot thickened, and you could already stand a spoon up in it.
Okay.
When I opened Reagan's envelope, I don't know what I was expecting. What I wasn't expecting was to find that the envelope was empty. There wasn't even anything written on the inside. There was a strangely mystical feeling about the charm bracelet, and I wasn't sure I liked it.
I'm going to ask Malachite about that bracelet real quick.
I need your help. Any reason you can think of why a person would keep an empty envelope safe?
Just because it looks empty doesn't mean it is. There could be a hyperspatial vortex in there, a link to some trans-dimensional cache.
Nope. I'm pretty sure it's just an empty envelope. Does this charm bracelet mean anything to you?
Well, it's a glucting carved out of serendipitous redwood from Uberwald, I'd guess.
What does it do?
It brings luck.
Good luck or bad luck?
Both. First, it brings good luck, little snacks of felicitous circumstances. But sooner or later, the wielder pays for any good luck with a massive dose of bad luck. A giant omelette of doom, delivered by a mad god.
Great. A mad god's omelette. Do you want it?
Are you insane? Give it to someone who's desperate.
Wonderful. Well, better go tell the Count.
I see, sir.
Sir,
Who?
is
Alas, perhaps.
tell her,
Why?
is the Count?
No.
I've got a few more questions for you, Count.
Yes, good questions. Go on.
I'm afraid I have some bad news for you.
It's Regin, isn't it? He's dead.
I'm afraid so. I found his carriage near the Magdalen Bridge. It must have lost control and skidded into the river. Reagan must have drowned, or suffocated. It's hard to say with a river like the Ankh.
Very well. Of course. I will pay you for your time. If you should hear anything else in connection with this case, please let me know. Otherwise, consider the case closed.
There is one thing. I think Reagan may have been involved with a troll singer named Therma. I'm not really sure about the details. I'm sort of investigating the Therma case at the moment. But since I'm not getting paid for it, I may have to give it up.
Indeed. How would you feel if I were to pay you for the Therma case and you continued to investigate it?
I'd feel a little bit richer and a lot happier.
Very well. It's agreed.
This empty envelope belonged to Reagan. Does it mean anything to you?
An empty envelope? I don't understand.
Neither do I. Recognize this?
Yes, I do. It is Regin's charm bracelet. I gave it to him.
Is there something special about it?
It's been in the family for years. I'm not sure where it came from, but I believe that the charms were carved from the wood of the serendipitous redwood.
What?
They were very, very old trees, and they grew very tall. Up to a mile, if the texts can be believed. The trouble was they were very top-heavy, and the slightest wind would knock them over.
How did they grow so tall?
That was the thing, you see. They'd fall over, but they were unbelievably lucky. They'd prop themselves up against each other like a house of cards.
Lucky trees?
Oh, believe me, as a student of flora, I have seen many such strange things evolve. Strangeness is indigenous to the Discworld.
What happened to the redwoods?
Someone cut one down, and the rest came down like dominoes. They crushed the fellow with the axe, I believe.
I guess they weren't so lucky for him.
It's a nice bit of flavor text.
I'll be back later.
I look forward to it.
Now, hopefully, there we go.
I knew that someone had pushed the card under the door, and I knew what it meant. It meant that I should have fitted a letterbox.
Have arranged meeting with Therma on the rooftops at the junction of Sally Street and Phaedra Road. Come immediately.
Salis and Phaedra. There wasn't much around there. Nice and quiet.
Okay, let's go tell Malachite.
Well? It's not been easy, but I've arranged a meeting with Therma.
Take me there. Take me to Therma.
In a moment. First, there's a couple of things we need to discuss.
Take me to Therma. Take me now.
Okay. Let's go. The rooftops above Salis and Fedra were quiet. No one had a reason to be up here. I was looking forward to meeting the mysterious Therma, and I was hoping I might get some answers out of her. Unfortunately, the last thing I remembered was looking up at the moon. The next thing I knew, I was being arrested by the Watch. They told me Malachite was as dead as two sides of bacon, and I was the prime suspect. His back had been chipped away like he'd said something particularly insulting to a disgruntled quarry workman, and they seemed to think my crowbar was the murder weapon. I had the opportunity and a possible murder weapon. All they were missing was motive. And anyone who had ever tried to get an intelligent comment out of the troll had a motive to kill him. It looked like I'd been stitched up as nicely as a fine genuine tapestry. They took me to Pseudopolis Yard to be interrogated. They had a salamander lamp shining in my eyes, so I couldn't see what was going on, but I could hear Nobby and a troll talking in the darkness. It was probably Detritus, the first troll to join the Watch. Detritus was the troll many people in Ankh-Morpork thought of when they heard the word troll, bringing back as it does vague memories of sudden concussion and extreme pain. Sometimes you'd hear two short planks being described as thick as detritus. Your ideal street cop, in fact.
So I'm a good cop.
No, I'm the good cop. You're the bad cop.
Dad, why don't I get to prod him a bit with my fists?
Because we're supposed to get information out of him, and it's hard to understand people talking through a mouthful of loose teeth.
I can smash lightly, more like a gentle caress, right?
No punching.
I can kick using minimal acceptable force. Like Mr. Vimes says, lots of it.
No punching, no kicking. We just talk to him.
Talk?
Right, well, I'll talk. You shout.
All right, you done it. Own up now, we know it was you.
No, not yet.
Oh, all right.
I've just got to start the audiograph.
Right. All right, you done it now. You've got to sing like one of them flappy twittery things.
Wait! I've got to start the recording properly, otherwise it doesn't count. Right. Interviewing suspect Luton. Present, Corporal Nobbs and Sergeant Detritus.
Now?
Now.
All right, you done it. You might as well make it easy on yourself. Everyone know it was you.
This is my interrogation, is it?
Don't you change the subject, you miserable excuse for our horse's donkey.
Just tell us what happened, Luton.
Here the facts. Fact. Mundy was killed. You found at the murder scene.
I was unconscious.
How you knowing you was unconscious if you was unconscious, eh? Foiled you with logic. Now you listen to me good, and then we see who wears the long two-legged garments. Fact. Escaped thingy, Mount Malachite.
Thingy? You mean troll?
Nah, not escaped troll. Escaped,
Feline.
Escaped feline?
Yeah, he escaped from a holding cell.
Is it possible the word we're looking for here is felon?
That's the one.
What did he do?
Hey, we asked the questions, you miserable arugaraha. You know what arugaraha mean?
He knocked over the Van Uberwald mansion.
I never knocked over the von Uberwald mansion.
Now, that's what Malachite did.
So what does arugraha mean?
In the precise moment that dog droppings turn white.
I think you'd better get back to being the bad cop.
I am the good cop.
Now, I'm the good cop.
So that make me...
The bad cop.
So how come I not get to hit you then?
We can't beat him up, Detritus. That'd be police brutality.
It only brutality if you leave marks. What show? Escape thingy, Mount Malachite. Was killed. And you was found at the murder scene there too.
Once again, I was unconscious.
Oh, how convenient for you. 2 murders and 2 unconsciousnesses. What about the murder weapon, eh? What about the crowbar?
Tell us where you got the crowbar, and I'll give you a smoke.
One of your dog ends? No, thanks.
I'll get you coffee. Maybe some cherry cake. New suit. You get to choose the colour.
I think you're taking this good cop role too seriously.
Thank you. Now my turn. You want to fall down the steps to the cell without leaving your chair? It's fine by me.
Oh, I love these two. Right. So yes, we have been detained and we're being interrogated. So we've got to go through the list, and there's no items, etc., etc. See what happened.
Look, I had a meeting with a troll named Therma on the rooftops of Salis and Phaedra. I'd arranged it on Malachite's behalf, and when we got there, I must have been knocked unconscious by the killer. I know it sounds improbable, but that's how it happened.
2 murders, and you happen to be unconscious at the scene of both.
You got to admit, Luton, it's a little far-fetched.
You want I should make up a defense? You want I should lie? This is the Lawyers' Guild all of a sudden?
Just tell us what you know.
I've told you all I know.
How come you know Malachite?
I met him in the streets. He wanted me to find someone called Therma.
When you find out he was a felony.
A felon. And I didn't find out until just now.
Luton, you're going down for murder. I don't think it's worth pretending you don't know who Malachite was.
I didn't know who he was. Do I need to draw you a map?
To what?
It just doesn't seem right, Luton. You being a detective and all, and not knowing one of your clients was an escaped felon.
What can I say? I guess I'm not as good a detective as you are. You want to know what else?
I wouldn't mind that map you mentioned. Might make things a little clearer.
Shut up, detritus. There isn't a map.
He said there was.
I kept following Malachite's case because it intrigued me, and the more I dug, the more interesting it became.
What did you find out?
I don't know. I guess I learned that I shouldn't have tracked down Therma. It seems likely to me that she's Malachite's murderer. Why don't you interrogate her?
There's no troll named Therma in Ankh-Morpork. You expect us to believe that this Therma killed Malachite and Mundy and framed you for both? Come on, sing like a pigeon on a stool. You done it, didn't you?
There's no reasoning with you, is there?
Not often.
Come on, you ugly sewer scraping. We want something we can believe.
That's enough, detritus.
Sir?
You can go.
I did it right?
Let's say you were everything I expected. Now go and write up the report. Not in crayon this time, please.
That should keep him busy for a few days.
He may be slow, but he's not an untrustworthy killer like you.
Why the personal interest in this case, Vimes? I'm sure you've got more important things to do now you're commander of the watch.
My reasons are my own.
You're not interested in my guilt or innocence. You're just out to nail me.
Frankly, Luton, I've got all the evidence of your guilt I need, and if I get my way, they'll lock you up and melt down the key for scrap iron. You're a bad cop, and I don't have any time for you.
If you're so convinced of my guilt, why the interrogation?
Nobby has this deranged idea that there might be some extenuating circumstances that we ought to find out about.
It'd make everything a lot easier if you'd confess, Luton. I'm sure you had a good reason to do what you did. Let us help you. Cigarette? Holiday for 2 in Quirm, sea-facing room, we pay the minibar bill.
I'm not guilty, and I'm not confessing to a crime I didn't commit.
Listen to me, Luton. We're conducting this interrogation because I believe in upholding the law.
There is no law in Ankh-Morpork.
True enough, but there's my law, and there's the patrician's law. Which would you rather face?
What's the difference?
Lord Veterinary considers it a happy state of affairs if the punishment can involve the actual perpetrator, but sees it as by no means essential. I consider it to be absolutely essential.
But you've already decided that I'm guilty.
That doesn't mean I've proved it.
And if I prove my innocence?
That's not going to happen.
Then what's the point of this farce?
Smoke?
No.
The thing is, Luton, we just want to find out what happened.
Do one decent thing in your life, Luton. Help us close this case.
Why should I?
So we can close this sorry little act and concentrate on the threat to the city.
The threat?
The counterweight killings.
All right.
Doesn't it make more sense that both Mundy and Malachite were killed by this so-called counterweight killer?
That's what you'd like us to believe, isn't it? You make the murders look like the counterweight killings and hope to get away with it.
That's it, isn't it? You're not interested in me. You want to catch the counterweight killer.
You're just a low-life killer, Luton. My job is to protect citizens from people like you.
What? You don't even like them much. You think they're all criminals.
Maybe. But murder leaves the place too messy.
Look, Luton, we don't think you're involved with the counterweight killings. But we have to know which ones are which if we're going to stop him from killing again. This is your chance to be a hero. To help us to catch a foreign assassin.
A hero? There's nothing I can do to save myself. Why should I care about the rest of the city?
You were a good man once, Luton. This could be your one shot at redemption.
I was never that good a shot.
You ought to know, Luton, that you're a suspect in the counterweight killings. That crowbar of yours was palace property, which means you had access to at least one of the murder sites.
You're getting desperate, aren't you?
We're wasting our time with you.
What about Reagan?
The dead dwarf? What about him?
He's a nobody.
Oops.
But it has all the hallmarks of a counterweight killing.
Are you confessing to the murder of Reagan?
No. I'm just saying that Mundy and Malachite aren't the only nobodies to get bumped off in mysterious circumstances.
There was nothing mysterious about Reagan's death.
People don't just drive carriages off a bridge for no reason.
He was driving recklessly across the city. It's probably just a suicide. Maybe he was just drunk.
What about the bite marks?
Bite marks?
There weren't any bite marks. I looked.
Reagan was murdered. I'm sure of it.
You've got bigger problems than that right now, Luton. I suggest you concentrate on them.
Surely you have other suspects for the murders I'm accused of, even if you don't think they're part of the counterweight killings.
Smoke? A set of the complete plays of Hwel the Dwarf bound in nearly real leather?
No, I don't want a smoke. I want to know who the other suspects are.
At the moment, you're top of our list.
Although you are the bottom of our list, too.
I am the list, aren't I?
Sorry.
Don't apologize, Nobby. Listen, Luton. There are other suspects for the counterweight killings, and we're investigating those. But for Mundy and the Troll, you're the bottom line.
What about Therma?
Ah, yes. Therma. Your mysterious troll who no one else has heard of.
For all I know, Therma's not her real name. The point is, someone agreed to meet me and Malachite, and whoever they are, they have to be a suspect.
Do you have any evidence that this troll exists?
Talk to Sapphire. She arranged the meeting.
This would be the singer at the Parrot, right?
Right.
I don't know how to break this to you.
Try quickly.
She's gone.
Gone?
She's skipped town.
Doesn't that strike you as suspicious? Shouldn't you be following her up as a suspect?
We looked into her for the Mundy killing, but she had a watertight alibi. Face it, you're the only suspect.
2 seconds. Oh, God. Fix this damn wire. Right. What about Horst?
What about Horst?
What does Horst have to do with anything?
He's been watching me. He's up to something.
He's always up to something. But he's not a murderer. Not by his own hand, anyway. He'd never be so careless as to carry out a murder himself. He's not that dumb.
What about Al-Khali?
Al-Khali?
One of Horst's cronies. I think he's been following me.
I guess I could interview him.
Why do I have a feeling that you won't?
Face it, Luton. You killed Mundy. You killed Malachite. And you tried to make it look like it was part of the counterweight killings.
This is going nowhere. I've got it out for us. In for us. Up for us, whatever.
Nothing I say is going to convince you of my innocence, is it?
It doesn't look that way.
All right. Yes, I was in Mundy's room when he was killed, but I was unconscious. And yes, I was on the rooftops when Malachite was killed. Again, I was unconscious. I don't know what happened, but somebody knocked me out, and whoever they are, they're the one you should be looking for.
Fine. If that's the way you want it, that's the way you'll get it. Give my regards to Lord Veterinary when your trial comes up. I doubt he'll be as patient with you as I have. The fact is, mister, that with you behind bars, the city will be a slightly better place.
They delivered me into the hands of the palace guards, who delivered me into the walls of a holding cell. I had a bad feeling about the way things were going. Mostly people who were sent to the patrician for trial got seen right away. Rumor had it that being put in a holding cell pending trial was like being filed away in a drawer marked forgotten. And not a very big drawer at that. The door to the cell was so stereotypical I half expected to look around and find a bearded old man manacled to the wall. I pounded on the door, but no one seemed to care.
We had some freestyle jazz bongos, apparently. Okay. Oh, hello.
Fast little fellow, he disappeared the moment I started moving. The wall to the cell had a nice dank feel to it. I expect it was Cell Wall of the Month in Home and Dungeon. I could find nothing out of the ordinary about the wall.
What have we got on us? Nothing. We've stripped our entire inventory, okay. Hello? There he is again. Ooh. Aha.
The rat had disappeared in a small crack in the wall. The question was, where had he gone? As I worked my fingers around the crack, it became clear that the crack was the side of a loose slab. The block was loose, and I was certain I could move it. The other side of the wall was another cell, but nothing like the holding cell. This was full of sketches and models, tools and materials. It looked more like a workshop, and there was someone working in it.
Would you like a cup of tea?
No, thanks.
Are you sure? Or are they not drinking tea outside anymore?
Outside?
The city. I take it you're from the city. How is it? Same as ever, I suppose.
You're Leonard de Quirm.
Yes, I am.
I'd found Leonard de Quirm. The man was almost a legend. There was no disputing that Leonard was a technological genius. But this meant he was as dangerous to the precarious stability of Ankh-Morpork as a compulsive smoker in a firework factory. Rumor had it that the patrician had locked him in a nice, airy cell for everyone's safety, because Leonard was the kind of guy who'd light any fuse for the innocent pleasure of seeing what kind of bang he could make. The only other thing I could recall was that although the guy was hot stuff at the nuts and bolts, he was definitely at the bottom of the class when it came to thinking up names. The patrician keeps you imprisoned here,
Sorry?
You're working for the patrician?
Not really. He calls from time to time and has a look at some of my sketches. Nice man. He keeps me abreast of events on the outside.
What's that you're working on?
This is my flapping wing flying device. I built a small prototype out of gutta percha strips, twisted tightly together, and it worked. Although not very well. Now I'm building a full-scale model.
Does it fly?
Not yet. But once I've solved the problem of the weight of the holding it together frame and the mechanical faults with the spinning blades radiating from the central hub, it should do. I was having trouble getting enough force to twist the blades together, but the troll the other week sorted that out for me.
Troll?
Yes. He was staying in your room before you. He made this window for me so I could watch the bird. Always good for inspiration are the birds. Not that I don't have enough inspiration as it is. Damn things. Just once I'd like to wake up without finding my sheets covered in sketches of novel designs for apple peelers.
Did you give the troll some metal strips by any chance?
Yes. He made them into a metal hook with prongs, I believe. Not one of my designs.
His name was Malachite.
Was it? It's possible. I never was good with names.
Well, £5 who this guy's based on. What do we got here? Can we...
Covered with wood, wire, paints, drawing materials, sketches, cartoons, and glue. The table was either the product of a highly deranged or a highly arranged mind. There was nothing useful to me on the table. Well, nothing useful that wasn't glued down, or that I thought Leonard wouldn't notice missing.
We'll talk to him in a second.
The gaping hole had been created by Malachite to escape from the palace. Leonard liked to think of it as a window. At that moment, I thought I heard the sound of someone at the door to my cell. My heart leapt to my throat and narrowly missed my tonsils. I had to get back to my cell and fast.
Hello, Luton.
Nobby, what are you doing here?
I've come to let you go.
Does Vimes know you're here?
Yeah, he sent me.
What happened?
There's a witness to Malachite's murder. Saw the whole thing, although not very well. He couldn't identify the killer, but from the description we got from him, we can rule out you.
So, I'm off the hook?
More or less.
Vimes must be livid.
I've seen him happier, but he's still convinced you're involved in this somehow.
I dare say he has a point, actually. But I'm not a cold-blooded killer, whatever he may think. Who was the witness?
A gargoyle up on the roof of the clerk's office on Salis Street.
What did he see?
I'm not supposed to discuss that with you. Come on, let's get you out of here.
You won't get any arguments from me.
Right, here's your stuff.
Where's the crowbar?
We're keeping that as evidence.
Yeah, right. I'll see you around, Nobby. Thanks for coming to get me out. I appreciate it.
That's what friends are for, isn't it?
Friends are for getting you out of a holding cell?
Could be. I ain't got that many.
You won't get any argument from me. See you later. I had this feeling that I was caught in the middle of something big, but I still hadn't a clue what it was. All I could do was keep searching and hope that sooner or later I'd stumble upon the truth. Well, maybe not stumble, just very carefully put my foot on it and hope the other end didn't come up and hit me in the teeth.
Oh, Christ. Right, that's a lot of things. There's the rooftops. So, I wanted to check one thing very quickly. So we're going to talk to him, then we can go back up to there, talk to Leonard, and also go to this hiding place and go into the Archaeologist Guild. There was one thing. Ah, yes. Oh look, a crowbar's mysteriously reappeared.
A good-looking crowbar. I figured the golem wouldn't notice that the crowbar had gone missing. Not that I'm saying it didn't need it, just that I'd figured I'd get away with stealing it.
So yeah, that's a mild bug. I think we do get the crowbar back later. But yeah, a second crowbar spawns. So yeah, great. So we'll go up to the rooftops again in a minute. But I'm going to have a small break. So I will be back. Where's the BRB screen? Oh dear, go on the red. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. So see you soon. Okay, we're back. I do like this character. Gable's pretty funny.
They'd put a chalk outline where Malachite had fallen. It really drove home how big that troll was. I couldn't think of a good reason to erase the chalk outline other than the giddy thrill of vandalism.
Make sure there's nothing else.
The gargoyle's name was Clark's Gable, and he had witnessed what had happened on the roof with me and Malachite. It was probably the first exciting thing to happen to him in decades. Are you the gargoyle that witnessed the troll's murder, Clark's Gable?
That's right.
I don't suppose you could talk a little more clearly.
Thing is, I have a gutter in my mouth. Have you ever tried to speak with a gutter in your mouth?
Have I ever tried to hick with a what?
A gutter. A gutter in your mouth.
Oh, with a gutter in my mouth.
Yes.
Sorry, I guess I haven't given much thought to the orally challenged.
That's okay. We're none of us perfect.
I heard you saw the murder that took place here the other night.
Sure did.
Mind if I ask you some questions about it?
Be my guest.
So you're a gargoyle, then?
What kind of a conversation opening do you call that, eh?
Don't you get bored being stuck in the same place for so long?
You get used to it. Mating is a bit of a pain.
You must be incredibly patient.
Oh, I always have plenty of things to think about.
Such as?
Well, like, is it raining? Or doesn't that cloud look like a really big cloud?
Oh, the fun never stops when you're up on the rooftops.
You said it.
How do gargoyles mate?
Very slowly.
You can move, though.
Course. How do you think I got here in the first place,
Then why don't you?
Look, I don't criticise you for running about like your brain would stop if your body stopped moving. So don't criticise me and my lifestyle, eh?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cause any offence.
That's okay. We're none of us perfect.
Anything useful? Okay, rid of that.
I had a feeling that the... Does this charm bracelet mean anything to you?
Sorry, I can't help you with that.
I really didn't want...
Okay.
Can you tell me what you saw the other night?
When the troll was killed, eh?
Has anything else interesting happened recently?
Well, I got a pigeon yesterday. That's a rarity. Mostly they steer clear of the rooftops that are colonised by gargoyles.
Putting that to one side, what did you see the other night?
Well, I can only tell you what I told the watch. I saw you and the big troll come up the ladder, only once you were on the roof, it was hard to make out what was going on because of the shadows. But I saw the troll get savaged repeatedly by some kind of creature, some kind of beast.
A beast?
Yeah, that's the best description I can give you.
It's not much help, but thanks all the same.
What for?
For getting me out of jail.
No problem. Glad I could help. If you could toss the odd pigeon up here next time you're passing, I'd be grateful, yeah.
Alright, sorry. Oops. Bestial.
Is there anything more you can tell me about this bestial attacker?
Nah, nothing springs to mind.
As a long shot, I asked if Clark's Gable had seen Horst up on the roof. Not surprisingly, he hadn't.
All these cases just... That's pointless.
You can see the Magdalen Bridge from here, can't you?
Sure.
I don't suppose you saw a carriage drive off the bridge the other night?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
What happened?
Let me see. I remember the carriage coming flying along the bridge. The driver was a dwarf, I think, and he went into convulsions just before the carriage went out of control. The next thing I know, there's someone coming out at the back of the carriage.
What did they look like?
My eyesight's not that good. All I know is that as the driver went limp, the other person cut the reins. The horse ran off, the carriage careened into the river, and this other person leapt clear.
That's all you saw?
That's about it,
Okay.
Do you know anything about the counterweight?
Sorry.
I gave Carlotta's description to Clark's Gable, but he didn't recognize it. Out of curiosity, I checked with the gargoyle to see if Ilsa or two conkers had been up on the roof. It didn't seem like they had. I couldn't help but wonder if Al-Khali had been up on the rooftops, but the gargoyle didn't recognize his description. Does three...
Sorry.
Does the...
Sorry.
Can you think of any...
Sorry.
Case is dead. Sapphire case is dead.
I didn't want this... The...
Yeah, he's not gonna know.
Do you know...
Sorry.
Do you know...
Sorry.
With the assassin...
Alright, I think that's all we're gonna get out of
Do you mind if I come back if I have any more questions?
I'm not going anywhere.
Let's go see Leonard again. Well, actually, while we're here...
I'm back. I've...
Made...
Do you know anything about some kind of beast stalking the streets?
I can't help you with that, son.
Yeah, it's worth a shot.
The palace walls were useful for keeping intruders out and keeping the roof in place. Looking closely, I could see the other side of the hole in the wall that I'd seen from inside Leonard's cell.
Why don't we go pay him a visit?
It always looked much easier in the clickies. Leonard of Quim was a renowned genius with the usual problem that geniuses have with relating to other people. He was clearly one of those people who started to look old around 30. And he wasn't exactly bald. It was more like his head had just grown up through his hair. Hello again, Leonard.
Yes. Hello?
What are you doing?
I'm deeply immersed in a mechanical problem.
Can I help?
It's not likely.
I kept waiting for him to say something else, but he was lost in his work.
Oh, okay, we can't really talk to him. However... this is a very good hiding space.
Hello again, Leonard.
Yes. Hello?
What are you doing?
I'm deeply...
Can I?
It's not...
I kept... Useful though they are, an exit is just an exit. Hello again.
Yeah. Hello?
What?
I could have sworn we could.
Leonard of Quim. He was clearly... useful though. The gaping hole had been created by Malachite to escape from the palace. Leonard liked to think of it as a window.
Maybe I've got to do it from here. Hold on.
Right under the patrician's nose. It was just crazy enough to work. The palace wall, looking close. The palace, looking...
No. Trying to deselect the damn note. Right, let's go.
I've done it. I've found somewhere to hide him.
Where?
Where no one would even think about looking. Somewhere that only the patrician and I know exists, I reckon.
The patrician and you? What if the patrician finds two conkers there?
Two conkers should be able to hide without too much difficulty. Besides, I have a feeling that if Lord Veterinary meets two conkers, he'll have a different take on this situation. He doesn't like to see useful people get killed. Besides, I am sure this is the only place in Ankh-Morpork that he'll be safe from Remora. Is it okay to move him?
He should be okay.
To be feeling much better in thankings.
Sure he's not still delirious?
Sometimes I wonder.
Let's go. Hello again, Leonard.
Hello. I'm afraid I had to go back to the drawing tablet with the spinning blades radiating from central hub. It was too heavy. The device flew all right, but only in a downward trajectory.
That is looking like some kind of fluttering machinery.
Yes, I call it a flapping wing flying device, but it isn't working yet.
May I take a look?
Be my guest.
Are you to be considering the increasings of the wingtitude?
The span of the wings? I considered it, but the weight is still the problem.
What if you be using bombastic wood for the frame?
It hadn't occurred to me that two conkers would have any practical skills, but I guess you didn't carry out complex excavations without learning a thing or two about engineering. I left him to get to know Leonard and hooked up with Ilsa. She had a deal to keep. With two conkers safely hidden away, Ilsa kept her word. She took me straight to the guild and signed me in as her personal guest.
Well, I wonder who that could be. Where are we? This stupid ass fake Indiana Jones thing. God.
There were some curious scrape marks around the fireplace that caught my attention.
You mustn't touch that.
The fireplace was home to a roaring fire, providing light and warmth. There was something distracting about it, but I couldn't work out what.
Honestly, you're like a little child. Leave it alone.
Look at all the things in the room before I talk to you.
It was only a small bookcase, but it might have something interesting on its shelves.
Keep your grubby little hands away from that.
Laredo Kronk, the upwardly nubile tomb evacuator and the focus of the fantasies of 1,000 post-pubescent adolescents. I had to admit there was something about her. Excuse me, can you help me?
That depends on what you want.
I'm new here. I'm just trying to get a feel for the place.
Are you a member?
Not yet.
What's your name?
Luton.
Laredo Kronk. Pleased to meet you, I'm sure.
The pleasure is all mine.
Of course it is. So you're a guest, are you?
Is that a bad thing?
Only in so much as 8 out of 10 guests who confessed a preference stole something before disappearing.
I'm not going to steal anything, trust me.
No, I think you're wrong. You are going to steal something, but don't worry about it. Almost everything the Guild of Archaeologists owns is stolen, and frankly, they should expect people to steal from them.
Do you steal from them?
Golly, no! I never steal from any building less than 1,000 years old, and with really exciting puzzles.
Interesting. What to get rid of?
So, what do you do for a living?
I'm a tomb evacuator.
And what does that involve?
It's a lot of fun. It means breaking into ancient buildings within which no man or woman has walked for thousands of years, apart from whoever it is who leaves all those medical kits, of course, and working my way through fiendish traps and puzzles, and eventually stealing some priceless treasure.
And do you sell the treasure?
Goodness, no! I'm far too well-bred for that. I bring it here, and have to watch as they slam it into a vault that nobody will look in.
A vault?
Forget I said that. Suffice it to say, the Guild of Archaeologists has a priceless collection of artifacts, but no one gets to see them.
Isn't that a waste?
Well, nobody said archaeology was rewarding.
Why do you do it then?
For the excitement, silly, and the fame. Everyone has heard of Laredo Kronk.
I hadn't.
Well, most people have. I was on the front cover of Archaeologists Monthly twice last year.
I don't read it.
Those long words can be so tiresome, can't they?
Subtle jabs at Tomb Raider there. Lovely.
So, what does a tomb evacuator do?
Nothing special. I break into places where priceless antiquities have been locked away for centuries, overcome the elaborate and convoluted security systems, defeat my rivals, and make away with the treasure. Typical day's work, really.
So, you must be pretty rich then.
Oh, I've got absolutely pots of money. Anyway, the whole thing with the tombs and so on is just a hobby. And of course, it's great for making friends.
What? Among fiendish tomb-guarding monsters?
No, I kill all those. I meant people are always asking me things like, how do you get to the third ledge in the tomb of Tex-Mex cuisine? What's a walkthrough?
Never heard of it.
People are always asking me for one. I hope it's nothing to do with sex.
My mind just boggled. Sorry. Broken into anywhere interesting, have you?
Well, I knocked over the Grand Temple of Offla several times. Such sillies. Every time they get the Tear of Offla back, I take it. It's getting a bit boring recently. Then there's the Catacombs of Genua and the Temple of Anu Anu at Al-Khali. I don't know, it's all a little routine. I'd like to do something new for a change.
Ever thought about retiring?
I'd love to, but the public seem to want me.
Anyone who in Al-Khali, you say?
You mentioned vaults.
I told you to forget I mentioned that.
I take it all the treasure that people find is kept in vaults under the guild.
I shouldn't discuss that with you since you're only a guest.
Worried I'm going to steal something?
Worried? No. I'm certain you're going to steal something. I just don't care.
Why not?
I'm very philosophical about this sort of thing. It's like I said, everything in the guild is stolen. It seems only fitting that someone else should get to steal it back, assuming they can overcome the traps, of course.
I've heard that a bestial attacker is loose on the city.
Try and imagine how much I care.
Do you know a troll by the name of Horst?
Jasper Horst. Yes, I know him. Horst and I go way back. And I don't mean that in a good way.
How do you know Horst?
You could say that he and I are rivals. We have this uncanny habit of turning up in the same place at the same time, looking for the same archaic treasure.
You sound bitter.
Well, I always win, of course. But that doesn't mean I don't resent his interference.
Must keep your life interesting, though.
Perhaps. I could stand a little less excitement in my life, though.
I wasn't about to ask Laredo about herself. What do you know about the counterweight killings?
Sorry, I'm not interested in politics.
What can you tell me about a golden sword?
Huh, you'll have to be more specific than that. Golden swords aren't that uncommon, you know. I must have evacuated about 30 in my career, and that's not including the golden daggers, golden lances, and golden kebab skewers.
I'm sorry.
The ancients seemed to think that gold was the best material to build everything out of, and I mean everything. The ziggurats of Tizuma had golden cutlery, golden swimming pools, golden bed sheets, and golden chamber pots.
Really?
Well, not anymore because I stole it all. But for a while it was very impressive.
Have you heard of a gold-plated jewel with the words Unquam Paratus inscribed on it?
That's the jewel Two Conkers is looking for, isn't it?
Yes.
He seems to think it's here in Ankh-Morpork.
And you don't?
If there was a valuable antiquity protected by an intricate and ancient security system anywhere in Ankh-Morpork, I'm sure I would have already found it.
Interesting.
Do you know what...
Sorry, I can't...
She's got barrels. Oh, you found the hiding place. If there's anything else, there's Krilling Aram.
Do you know any...
Sorry, I...
What do you...
Sorry,
Do you know a dwarf named Al-Khali?
Oh yes, one of Horst's cronies. Well, some of the time. We've sparred with each other a couple of times.
What do you make of him?
He's a treacherous, rat-like man, and you do well to stay away from the likes of him.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Do you know Ilsa and Two Conkers? I understand they're members of the guild.
Why, of course. I have a lot of respect for them. Of course. They do all that boring excavation work, which isn't really my thing. Still, someone has to do the boring stuff, I guess. Not everyone can lead an exciting, action-packed life like me.
What do you...
There's no one I've had...
Does 3...
Absolutely.
Care to tell me what it means?
No, but I promise that the answer is here somewhere in the guild.
Why do I not like the way you said that?
Probably because you have a strong survival instinct.
I don't understand.
You will, sooner or later. Mark my words.
Okay, so that's
Does-
basically saying to...
What?
You, Mark...
Bloody hitboxes. Hint that, yes, you are indeed in the correct position. Right.
Does this mean...
I'd say it was either a Sortian or a Sortese coin. Not especially valuable.
What's the difference?
Between Sortian and Sortese, about 2,000 yards. Sort was a city, the site of the famous Sortian Wars. And Sorta is a village, the site of the famous Sortian Wars tourist trade. Where did you get it?
It's not important.
You stole it, didn't you?
No?
Oh, come on, I can see it in your eyes. Don't worry, I'm proud of you. The disc needs more tomb evacuators. We're really not that common. And there seems to be a never-ending supply of tombs, catacombs, pyramids, ziggurats, burial chambers, wrecks, caves, lost cities, temples, mines, crypts, mazes, barrows, castles, forts, vaults, swamps, chasms, labyrinths, mountains, mausoleums, tunnels, and dungeons to raid.
Tunnels and dungeons?
And trolls and dragons. You'll get the hang of it, I'm sure.
That's terrible.
Do you know what this...
Looks like some kind of charm bracelet from Uberwald. Might have some value, but it's obviously not very old. There are far more interesting artifacts out there if you're interested, and just a little foolhardy.
Just a little foolhardy?
I mean, if you're prepared to spend your typical day dodging poison darts, falling weights, pit traps and mechanical spears.
Okay, I think that's enough for now.
Thanks for your time.
No problem.
Ah, Mr. Luton, it is always a pleasure to see you. I trust you have brought something with you that will be to my liking.
I haven't brought you the sword yet, if that's what you mean.
I'm a patient troll, sir, but there are limits to my patience.
So Carlotta's an associate. You still haven't...
Let's just...
Okay, we've done that. So let's pay him a visit.
A woman named Laredo Crunk is in town. It seems to me that you might know her.
Laredo is here in Ankh-Morpork? Really? I thought that we had dealt with her in the temples of Tezuman. She is full of surprises, that one. Would you do me a favor, sir, as one friend to another?
Perhaps. It depends on the favor.
But of course, your prudence continues to speak well of you. I'd like for you to arrange a meeting with Laredo for me.
It seems as if I'd be doing you a favor. It seems as if I should be getting something in return.
Very well. Arrange this meeting for me, and we can discuss the sword in detail. Do we have an agreement?
Works for me. I'll go give her the news. I can't guarantee she'll turn up, though.
Oh, she'll come. We have much to discuss.
I'll be back.
And hopefully, I look for... I like...
Every bleeding time. Right.
I'm back.
Apparently so.
So,
I'm a...
a vault
Forget...
isn't...
Well,
Why do you...
and every... Well, there's...
I've got a message for you from Horst.
Horst is in Ankh-Morpork.
Absolutely. He wants to meet with you to discuss certain matters arising.
Super.
I have to say that it's probably a trap.
Of course it's a trap. That's what makes it interesting. I'll see you later, Luton.
Best of luck.
You too.
Laredo made her way over to Horst's quarters and didn't look back. I had no idea what the two had to talk about, but I was sure it would lead to a new and exciting adventure, one even more complex and challenging than her last. For the time being, at least, Laredo was out of the way. The fireplace was home to a roaring fire, providing light and warmth. There was something distracting about it, but I couldn't work out what.
Okay.
It was hard to search a blazing fire. On closer examination, I realized that the scrape marks transcribed a semicircle around the fireplace. It was hard to search a blazing fire.
Ah. Perfect.
I wasn't an expert, but I was pretty sure the hinged book was a switch of some kind. I heard a faint click, and the next thing I knew, the fireplace was revolving. I won't bore you with the details of the guild's security system. After all, if you've seen one intricate and fatal collection of pits and traps, you've pretty much seen them all. Suffice to say, it took a lot of trial and error, some scorched eyebrows, and more levers than I could count.
Basically, we didn't want to render it.
One of the vaults grabbed my attention more than the others, Vault 51. Whereas most of the vaults were open, this one was sealed behind a large oak door with the words Nil Introitus written on it. I once knew a man who had that tattooed on his buttocks.
I think that means no entrance.
Up on the wall of Vault 51 was a sign reading, Unseen Securities, Magical Alarms, Wards, and Hexes. I guess a place like this needed the best security around. I wasn't about to steal. There was a panel by the oak door with runes on it. I punched away at the runes randomly, but as far as I could tell, nothing happened.
Just for the sake of comedy.
This wasn't turning out to be one of my better days.
Now, who do we know that works for what? Specific thing?
Can we wake time to... Hello again, Warb.
Luton!
You a regular in here, then?
I guess I'm not.
I thought...
June, one full you're or you did...
Oh, don't... It all...
Well,
glad.
It's an...
Well, thank you. So you work up at
I was once...
But you're... I thought...
Yeah, I work...
Unseen.
Yeah, very...
Are they...
Oh, hardly...
If you're...
I guess I feel...
But the odds are all... The house...
Let me tell the hat here. Out. It...
No, I...
Alright, alright.
I've heard you wouldn't know anything about...
Why? Why would you think that?
You've got contacts in Unseen. I reckon they must know all about the demons and creatures loose in the city.
Oh, I see. No, I don't know anything about that.
Oh god, how do we trigger this?
I'm looking. Does that?
God, I'd let.
Why? What do you?
Nothing. No. Oh, forget you. It'll get you killed.
Dude, suddenly, hang on. I've got the code up. Follow part of Vault 51. Try to tell. Oh crap, who was that? Otaku, hey man. Oh, I'm stuck on a puzzle, so I'm looking it up. I can very well, thank you very much. This is the bit I always get stuck on. Because you've got to ask him something specific and it'll trigger. So it's not the swords.
Do you?
I'm afraid.
Nothing about the killings.
Do you?
I don't.
Because this is what you're meant to do. Unless I'm like missing something.
What do you know?
I'm afraid.
Can you?
I'm afraid.
Ever seen a?
Sure. Well, I've never spoken to.
What is he?
He.
No, that's just basically saying if you talk to Reagan.
Does 3?
I'm afraid.
Maybe I'll. Hello again.
Luton.
You a regular in here?
I guess so. I'm not.
I thought.
Do you know how your lunch for some or spend too long? You all the.
Don't you lie? It always seems.
Well, it's an.
Well, then. So you work up.
I was once.
But you're. I thought.
Yeah, I work for Unseen Securities now.
Unseen.
Yeah, we make very.
Are they?
Oh yeah, hardly any.
Maybe I'll.
Alright, let's go back to the. Go back to the guild. I'm gonna click on everything.
One of the vaults grabbed my attention, whereas most of the vaults were open. I once knew a man who. There was
Maybe
a panel by the oak door. I punched away at the room. Up on the wall of Vault 51 was a sign reading, Unseen Securities, Magical Alarms, Wards, and Hexes. I guess a place like this needed the best security around. I wasn't about...
Okay, because technically how I left there is I accidentally... Well, not accidentally, I did it on purpose. Slammed my face into the wall and I turned into a frog and then just kicked me out. So maybe that counts as a death. Even though there's nobody dead.
Can we talk? Wait. Time to... Hello again.
Loot.
You're a regular. Oh, don't... Well, glad it's... Well, so you... But... Oh, hot. If you're... That... No.
I'm missing something. There's something I'm missing. There's always something I'm missing here. I bloody hate this puzzle. Right, hang on. Let's just skim through this. Right, so that's the beginning. With Monday, go to the wharf, that's how you do the Reagan case. God sword, yes, okay. Okay, you get the key, then you get hidden item inside. You get jumpers in the envelope, you have done that. Wine barrels and you go downstairs, yeah. Then you get the meeting with Therma, and Malachite dies, and go to the interrogation room. Seems you're done, dude. Need to be back from the crowbar, go back to the right. Talk to the raider. And there's the horse and get those. Yes, so then Laredo go talk to the horse, and she's out of the way, so then you can go downstairs. Down in the bookcase and pull. Follow the path to Vault 51, yes. Go stand there and talk to wizards then as well. Talk to him about Vault 51. Well, that's not popping up though. Why isn't it popping up? Okay, hang on. Maybe it's because I skipped that.
Maybe I'll... Hello again. Loot! You're a regular. I... Oh, don't... It up. Well, glad it's... Well, thank you. If you're... I guess... But... Let that hit out. That's... Ever... No. So you... I was one side... But you're still a... I thought... Yeah, I work... Yeah, very... Are they... Oh, hard...
What is the point? We're so close. Like, this is literally the end of Act 2. We have, like, 2 to 3 things left to do. And it's always this bit.
Maybe I'll... Up on the wall of Vault 51 was a sign reading, "Unseen securities, magical alarms, wards, and hexes." I guess a place like this needed the best security around. I wasn't about... There was a panel by the oak door with runes on it. I punched away at the runes. I didn't know what the runes meant. Otherwise, I could try punching in 3712B and see what happened. One of the vaults grabbed my attention more than the others, Vault 51. Whereas most of the vaults were open, this one was sealed behind a large oak door with the words Nil Introitus written on it. I once knew a man who had that tattooed on his buttocks. I punched away at the room. Can we talk? Business is waking. Time to Hello again.
Luton.
You're a regular in.
Well, it's
well then. If you're
here, out there, at least
that's
ever.
No,
none.
So you?
I was trained once.
But I thought.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
very.
Are they?
Oh, hardly.
What have I got to do?
Does the?
I'm afraid.
You would.
What?
You?
Oh, no.
I'm looking for. Does that mean?
I'd let.
Why? What do you know?
Nothing. No. Oh, it'll get you.
The.
I'm afraid.
I think this charm bracelet is worth something.
There we go.
Really?
The charms are carved from serendipitous redwood. It's a genuine luck bringer.
Where did you get it? And if it's so lucky, why do you want to give it to me?
It used to belong to Reagan,
bracelet.
and I'm not going to give it to you, but I might trade it to you.
Reagan, the dwarf, yeah. I remember seeing him wear it at the tables. Do you think that was why he always won?
I'm no expert, but anything's possible.
You're right. I'm interested. What do you want for it?
What have you got?
I haven't got any money. Actually, I don't think I've got anything of any value to offer at all.
I guess we'll just have to think of something.
There we go, Vault 51. Finally.
I have an idea of what you can trade me for the bracelet.
Go on.
You work for Unseen Securities, right?
Yeah.
Well, I need to get into Vault 51 under the Guild of Archaeologists, and you can help me.
No. No. That's a bad idea. I could get into serious trouble.
Face it, Warb, your life's a mess. You've got nothing to lose. But if this charm bracelet is as good as it seems, it could make a world of difference to you.
Whoa, if they traced a break-in back to me, my life wouldn't be worth living.
In the first place, no one is going to know I broke in. And in the second place, there's no reason they need to trace it back to you. And in the third, your life is already not worth living. What difference is this going to make?
Oh, maybe you're right. All right, I'll do it.
How do I switch off the security system for Vault 51?
I don't know what their watchword is, but all the unseen security systems have a back passage.
What's that?
It's a way to switch them off that only we know about.
What is it?
You'll have to find the rune panel.
What's it look like?
It's a small panel with runes marked on it. You touch the right runes in sequence to switch it off.
What's the sequence for the back passage?
Give me the bracelet first.
Here you are. Now, what's the sequence for the back passage?
Whatever the runes are on the panel, make an X starting in the top left and finishing in the bottom left. That's the back passage.
A pleasure doing business with you, Warb.
You won't tell anyone about this, will you?
Don't worry. I'm feeling honorable today.
Alright.
Maybe I'll see.
Should we end this? Should we end Act 2? Let's do this.
Just as Warb had told me, I made an X on the control panel. I just hoped he was telling the truth.
interruption. Finish this.
Vault 51. I couldn't deny it. It made a big impression on me. Not quite as big an impression as some of the traps on the way would have done, but at least the impression it was making wasn't fatal. Vault 51 was filled with crates and displays of all shapes and sizes. I couldn't even begin to guess what treasures were lost in its cavernous interior. Perhaps even that pen I lost the other week. The crates were labeled with some kind of 4-digit reference number, and there did seem to be some sort of a pattern as to how they were organized. I didn't have time to search through all the crates. There were thousands of them.
Right, now we can finish this. Finally.
I worked my way around the vault towards Exhibit 3712V. The glass cabinet contained urns from Zorta and was labeled 3711 to 3713V. It was one of the most boring things I've ever seen. The fat urn was clearly a very ancient piece of pottery. It looked very boring indeed. The tall urn was probably a priceless antiquity, but I really didn't care. The small urn was as boring as the other two urns.
Let's go nab it.
The troll's tooth scored through the cabinet's glass like an accountant through a rich man's wallet. I smashed the tall urn into tiny pieces, and inside was the golden sword. Finally, this was it. The artifact that Carlotta, Horst, and who knows how many other people were looking for. Frankly, it was a bit of an anticlimax. I expected it to at least glow a little, or perhaps sing to itself quietly, or hum with the stolen souls of 1,000 men. But it just felt cold and hard in my hand, like any other sword. Suddenly it came over me that everything would go wrong. It sounds crazy, but it's true, so help me. I couldn't hear my footsteps. It was the walk of a dead man.
Let's leave.
When I made it out of the guild alive, I thought I was home free. But there was something wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I knew I was in danger. I'm not a suspicious man, but I am a cautious man. I decided then and there to start running, and not look back until my office door was safely locked behind me. But something else had plans for me not to make it that far.
Intro cutscene.
I don't know when I first began to suspect that I wasn't dead. I guess it must have been when I realized I was thinking about whether or not I was dead. The anthropomorphic entity with the scythe hadn't turned up, so I figured I was either alive or undead. And it didn't take me long to work out which. I wandered through the streets in a daze, not really knowing what was going on. At first, I couldn't make out any colors. Then gradually the city came alive with vast clouds of pigmentation. Against it all, there was an ever-present mist of bright green, cloying and unpleasant. There was a dissonance about it that I couldn't place, until I realized I was smelling the rank odor of the River Ankh. I was smelling the world in a way I wouldn't have thought possible. Every smell fascinated me. The resonant scents combined into a symphony. Every street was an opera, every lamppost an invitation. I don't know how long I wandered the streets. It's hard to tell which way is up when your world has been turned upside down. I ended up back where I started because I didn't know what else to do. Plus, my coat was in the coffin, and Ankh-Morpork is a bad neighborhood to be caught naked in.
Woof, woof.
I haven't got anything to eat, if that's what you want.
Woof, woof, woof.
I haven't got any idea what's going on either.
Woof, bloody woof.
Hey!
That's pretty sharp. Most people don't catch on to that.
What did you say?
Woof, woof.
You can talk, can't you? I mean, really talk.
Nothing gets past you, does it?
How did you do that?
Well, I can sort of talk.
Nonsense. If there was a talking dog in Ankh-Morpork, I'd have heard about it.
Well, the thing is, most people don't seem to notice it.
Yeah, right. Like you wouldn't notice a talking dog.
Seems like people only see what they expect to see.
How philosophical of you.
I just calls them as I see them.
So how come I can tell you can talk?
I don't claim to understand it, I just do it.
Do you know what's happened to me?
I'm guessing you didn't know you were a werewolf till you woke up this morning.
I'm a werewolf. That explains what's happening to me. I thought somebody slipped something into my embalming fluid.
First order of business is to train you up then.
Hold it right there. I don't need your help.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. Look at yourself. What's your name?
Luton. I'm a private investigator. Well, I was. Then I was dead. Then I was, well, a werewolf, I suppose. I guess I spoke too soon. Maybe I do need your help. What's your name?
Gaspode the Wonder Dog.
The Wonder Dog?
Hey, don't knock the name. I was named after the famous Gaspode.
Never heard of him.
Most people haven't. He belonged to an old man in Ankh many years ago. When the old man died and was buried, Gaspode lay down on his grave and howled for a couple of weeks, growling at anyone who came near. Then he died.
And they called him the Wonder Dog because he was such a paragon of doggy faithfulness and loyalty.
Until they discovered that his tail had been trapped under the stone, yeah.
How do you think I became a werewolf?
Well, presumably you got bit by a werewolf.
Bitten?
Right. Lesson 1. Don't correct me grammar. All right?
Sorry.
Okay. Well, once I've trained you, I suggest that the first thing you do is try and work out how you got infected.
Infected?
With lycanthropy. It's the blood disease that werewolves have. Now, since you don't have any cubhood memories of romping with your pack, I reckon it's a safe bet that you got infected somehow.
So someone I know is a werewolf.
Give the wolf a cigar.
So can I change between being a wolf and a man at will?
Sort of. There's a certain way the change works.
The change?
There's two things you've got to learn about being a werewolf. The nose
and the change.
The nose?
Yeah, the nose. Werewolves have a unique perception of the world, a sort of a different point of smell.
I've noticed that. I can see scents as colors, and they have a certain feel about them, too.
Those colours are unique. Each smell has its own signature colour. So you can tell whether or not someone has been somewhere by whether or not you can see their scent there.
Even as a man?
No, only when you're a wolf.
And how do I switch between forms?
That's what the change is all about. It's a skill you've got to learn how to do. Now, you've already used it to turn into a wolf. Soon, you'll be able to change whenever you wanna.
How did I change this time if I didn't know how?
That's the other thing about the change. You have to change at the full moon. I guess that's what brought this on in the first place. Other times, it's voluntary.
So can I change now?
Give it a try.
At first I didn't know what to do, but Gaspode talked me through it. Then, when I could see the world in all its psychedelic glory, Gaspode started teaching me about the nose.
You look around, tell me what you see, as a wolf.
There's a lot of colors.
Phew. I can see how you became a private investigator. You get a lot more information about scents with your werewolf senses. You can see them as colours.
I can see a mist of bright green surrounding everything. And there's something that looks like a long stream of purplish-red cloud with some tiny fluorescent greenish-yellow-purple specks in it. Also, there's a ground fog of some kind of unpleasant blue.
Well, the bright green is the stench of the River Ankh. No mistaking that. That long stream of cloud sounds like the scent of someone having gone through the cemetery recently. Does it smell like a privy carpet?
No, it smells like Carlotta, but with less treble.
Well, it wasn't me then. I guess I'm the ground fog of unpleasant blue.
Who was it?
I don't know who it was, but it was someone.
I can't see my own scent.
Well, that's normal. You're so used to being around it that it's invisible to you. And that's handy for me, what with my stench and all.
So I can follow the purplish scent to find this person.
If you want, and assuming you don't lose the trail, other smells eventually drown scents out, especially out on the streets.
What about the coruscating dots?
What's it like?
It's like flashing green, yellow, purple.
Is it like mature mould with an earthy echo?
No.
It's not you then? Dunno what it is. See where else you find it and you might be able to work out what it is.
According to Gaspode, I could learn a lot from comparing different scents. I figured that could come in handy in my line of work. Assuming I could change back to being human, that is. I gave it my best shot.
Nicely done.
I learned from a master.
Right, that's about it. Apart from the full moon, you can be whatever you want to be. But as of the full moon, you're sniffing lampposts with the rest of us.
Act 3, finally. And there we shall... Oh, God. And there we shall save. And there we shall quit. And there we shall find the end slate. Right, well we got there in the end. God damn, this is only 4 hours. But now we shall go say hello to Ewok. A nice little raid. So, oh. There we go. Cool. We'll go with that, because why not? Oh look, I've got the 6 months. Nice. I'll do that in a second.